What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players, to another day of the Challenger Series. This is it. The semi-final playoff game is here, and today, joined not normally by my normal co-caster, Whiskey Glitter, I've got High Bear with me again today, filling in on Easter. So thank you, High Bear, for making that last-minute change for us.
Whiskey called and I got the fill, so happy to be here. Looking forward to casting two of my favorite teams in these quals. Looking at doing Forsaken versus Spaceshoobs. For those who don't know, Spaceshoobs, my historic roster. I used to play with those guys way back in the day. I know pretty much everyone on that team, so not saying we'll have too much bias in the casting, but if it's there, just be aware.
All right, we're gonna keep you to that word, man. Now, it's not unexpected to have a little bit of bias for a team you're a fan of, but today we have got 4 matches on the way. Revelations taking on M80X. That's on the mainstream, on the R6 stream. If you're looking for that team, that's where they're at. Now, our game, Forsaken versus Spaceshoobs. This is who M80 is likely to play in the finals after they beat that Revelations team. That's a little bit of bias coming out from me. Now, later in the day, the 4 o'clock games, we're going to see the 2 lower bracket games. Flow State taking on the Unks, and then Core taking on JJ and Co. But we said it, for our game today, here's the rosters, my friend.
And the thing is, this is starting to be a lot of known players. We're getting to the point in the Challenger Series where these are the folks who have been in and around T2 for ages at this point. And even some old former T1 players in there. On the side of Forsaken, obviously you've got Kool-Aid, Hat, Gasher, all players who have been at that Tier 1 level. While opposite them, everyone here is looking to make a name for themselves. These are people that I came up with when I was getting into the comp scene of Siege. Exige, Teddy, Volsper, Scoob, these guys have been around, and this has been their best opportunity yet to really prove themselves, and they're looking to make a statement.
Now, when we take a look at the map bans, there was 2 really surprising things that jumped out for me. Was number 1, all the way at the end, the Scoobs, the Shoobs banned Chalet. And this is a team that is known for how good they are on Chalet. They beat M80X on Chalet. I'm surprised that they banned it in favor of Clubhouse. We may not even get to that point, but man, that just shocked me.
You say that, but yesterday, Shoob going against JJ and Co. managed to pull out a decisive Clubhouse win in map 3 to be able to take it over the line and make it to this Forsaken match in the first place. They looked hot on that map, and I am not shocked seeing them bring it out. They're looking ready to absolutely crush. Should we even make it to that map 3?
The other thing I'm not surprised about taking a look at this was Cafe was banned by the Shoobs. That was a map that they absolutely destroyed early on their game yesterday. They had a crazy good, the Forsaken had a crazy good map on Cafe, so not surprising to see that go. But map number 1, Consulate, my friend, is starting now.
Hopping right into it. Gonna be jumping into this ban phase momentarily. Consulate's one of those maps that really tends to favor the defense. So usually the team who's not got the map pick is able to run up a couple of rounds in the first half. So don't be surprised to see if they manage to pick up a couple of rounds early on, the other team turns it around in the second half. But getting into it, ban phase. First thing, Damo's taken off the board. What's up with that, Whiskey?
I mean, with one of the things that we saw from Forsaken was that they were very, very good on the vertical. Deimos plays into that so well. Consulate has got a lot of opportunities for that. Spaceshoobs trying to take him off the board early, make sure that they can't use him against them. And then obviously the shield, I'm not surprised at all. We are in the shield meta. The shields are so good. If it's not 1, it's 2 banned on every single game.
You say that. I mean, only 1 taken off the board this time, and I do think the Deimos here on Consulate is just, it's quite a powerful operator, both because you've got such a large map that is difficult to roam clear without those roam clearing defenders, and also he has the potential for that bottom-up destruction in a similar use case to the Buck, using those tracks to be able to reveal players on the floor above and forcing them to reposition into spots where your teammates are holding, for example, or where if you just sit still, you'll be taken down. So I do like seeing him taken off the board. I think it actually serves to make the defense a bit more powerful, counteracted, of course, by that Blackbeard ban, making it a little tougher for the attack to get inside the building.
The other thing for me, this is, and this maybe goes to the bias we were talking about earlier. The Shoobs have got the energy, support, and momentum really on their side. They're probably the only other team in Siege right now has got the levels of support and intensity that the M80X team brings to the table. So we got to watch them play against each other early in or late in the Swiss stage. And now potentially seeing a matchup in the finals here if they can win against Forsaken. That is going to be another great match. But said it, they've got to get through Forsaken first, and there is a ton of ex-pros on this team. This one is going to be a battle.
Yeah, but they ain't got nothing against Mr. Nate 78 Volsper.Shoob. That dude's been going nuclear this entire time. Get him in T1. We'll see if he's able to find anything. He's playing the Legion this time around, and Teddy looking to be the main point of contact over towards admin here as the attack begins their approach.
I mean, working on the admin over, definitely not unexpected here from this Forsaken team. Using the utility, clearing the cams, clearing out some of this, but oh man, Gasher takes down Teddy. He got a little aggressive to start on defense. Gasher makes him pay for it.
Goes a little peek, but finds a bullet instead. No dice inside this round as Forsaken continue their setup.
So working the outside windows here. I mean, taking a little bit of extra time getting going, a little bit of a C4 coming out from Exige, not going to hit anything in this case. And I got to say, it seems like Forsaken taking a very slow approach to this attack. The little bit of the trade coming out downstairs. Scoop gets one, but quickly traded by Hat.
Everything's dropping, fall in the favor of Forsaken. Apart from that one kill, leaving just Volsper and Toaster, last two alive. I mentioned earlier, Volsper's been excellent throughout the Challenger series so far for his team, but you gotta wonder, in such a heavy deficit, is it a bit too much to ask?
Certainly feels like it now. We've gone through the first minute of gameplay at this point, and when you get close to site, there's still a ton of defensive utility still in place. The mute jammers, that main deployable shield right by the vending machine, that thing has got to come down if they've got an opportunity. But right now, they're going to burn a bunch of util, getting ready for the window hopping, but it's covered by Volsper. I don't think they're ready for this.
Volsper finds one, still playing close in that corner position, getting pushed from Connector, not able to find the fight. Kento will be the first to take him down, hitting those shots. The refrag was there no matter what. Volsper in a really aggressive position, looking to engage with the players as they swung in, but the deficit was just too large, not enough bodies, and despite the fact he's able to find one, the rest of the attack is able to simply overwhelm him, sending Forsaken into the lead.
All right, round one in the books there, and you said it, Forsaken taking it again on attack. A little bit surprising. Consulate has been very, very heavily defender-sided as we move through the Challenger series. I hate to do math on stream, but we take a look at that. I think it was close to 60% defensive win rate. So the fact that Forsaken comes in, picks up one to start off with, I think gives them a definite boost as we roll into this map one.
A different lineup being brought along for the same site. Notably, the Clash being played by Exige. Interesting operator, obviously very powerful in the long hallways that we see all around the top floor of Consulate. So, gonna see her bring out that shield. I expect, along with that, maybe Spaceshoobs have decided, hey, what happened last time? We just kind of overextended and got a bit aggressive towards admin. They want to play a little further back, play around the utility, the Malusi gadgets, the Clash shield, and force Forsaken to actually fight for the space instead of having those engagements go down more or less outside the building like we saw last round.
I went back and checked Bear, and it was 70% defensive win rate on Consulate here in the Challenger series for the NAL. That is, it is the most defensive-sided map, and we really talk about Skyscraper being insanely defensive-sided, so much so that it's not played, but it is surprising to me how good this one is, and this is Forsaken's map pick, so we know we expect them to come out swinging on attack, knowing that they're going to have to start on this side, but man, that seems like a bit of a risk with how defensive-sided this map is.
Things off, once again, getting some space over towards admin, though notably, Forsaken do send a player over towards the CEO windows this time. Slightly different attack, but
the run out!
Windows manages to pick up 2 with the SMG-11, switching to the shotgun, trying to escape. Will be taken down, traded back. Terminator just kind of doing that termination, but the impact is felt. That being said, though, Hat over at the top of these Visa stairs has managed to put himself into an aggressive position, and he will find a kill on the Toaster. William, you gotta be aware of that, but the Brava hacking that Malusi gadget makes it so that he isn't. A little bit of a regress over towards front projector. The Clash gaining info on those stairs, now aware that that player has left, that the threat is no longer there, not going to persist. But the damage is done, and a great equalization out of Hat after the excellent jump out from Teddy early on.
Man, crazy jump out there, getting a double. That's a huge play here for this team, and with this last minute of gameplay ticking down, working the Brava at this point, still stealing and dealing with utility. I talked about that being a bit of a risk at the end of the last round, but it didn't make a difference. They managed to push through it and win that based on kills. They're going to try and pull off that same trick now. So find a minute of gameplay, runs down, and they're pushing Spiral. They're pushing admin side, but Scoob is there to answer.
Trades come through, 1 for 1 so far. Hat at the top of these spiral stairs. And Exige with the shield, so there's only really one gun on side for Spaceshoobs. Going to be Volsberg. He's going to have to go huge here. Work off the info that Exige provides, plus his couple of goo mines spread throughout the sites. Over towards long desk are these 2 attackers. They work in. Position not revealed by the BP, which has been hacked, but it will be called out by Exige. The Clash over towards that doorway. Plant started. Volsberg reveals himself. A grenade to slow him down, to make things stop for just a moment. Exige turns away with the shield on his back, but is taken down. But Volsberg's so good. The headshot managing to pick up 1, and suddenly it is a 1v1. The plant started once again. Terminator going for it, but he doesn't opt to stick. Gets off that case, looking for a fight, but Volsberg doesn't want to give it to him. Exige simply calling out that this plant is not going down. You can wait, you can take your time, you don't need to force it. But as it gets down to the red time, it's forced to be stuck.
Wow!
Will manage to win it, hitting the headshot as Terminator goes for the swing. Exige bleeds out, but it does not matter. More than enough time for the defuse for Nate 78.
Defenders win.
Well, not killing that down player just gives that opportunity, that intel for him to call out exactly what is happening literally right next to his ear. But you said, without enough time, not able to make a change up to the way that that plant was going down. Forsaken plays it well, but the Spaceshoobs just play it better. Ties us up at 1-1 as we head into round 3. And I got to say, if you're just joining us again, welcome everyone here to the semifinal games in the NAL Challengers Series 2025. And I know there's a lot of people looking for the M80 games. We've had them on stream 14 different times here on the Siege Double Shot, but the M80X team pulled the mainstream today, so they're on R6. We're watching to see who they might play in the finals next weekend. Both of those semifinal games happening at the same time, so we wanted to have them, we wanted to be there, but they're on the mainstream today. Today we've got Forsaken and the Spaceshoobs coming out here in the other semifinal game.
Kind of devious that you guys follow those M80 guys throughout the entire thing, and then all of a sudden, once they're in semis, you guys don't get the chance to be able to cast that team. Unfortunate, but an exciting match here nonetheless.
10 seconds left.
Obviously, me being particularly biased towards Spaceshoobs, given my history with the team, but very excited to see them manage to pick up that first round. But I think either side could really take this match. Forsaken, quite a good roster, obviously, with their various historic pros and current extremely strong players. We're going to get a couple more attacks here on this unfavored side of Consulate to make their defense a little bit easier once we head into that second half. We'll start looking at a roam clear as they go for this top floor attack.
We don't often get to see a ton of Jackal being played in competitive play, but man, so good at the roam clear. Usually you see maybe the Dokkaebi come out. This time Forsaken going to double up on it and bring both. They want to make sure that they have got the Spaceshoobs defense on lockdown, force them out of any of those roaming positions, make sure that they can take the fight directly to this team. Consulate has got a lot of places you can kind of rat and play. They're going to find those out pretty quick here as they push downstairs to the basement.
Well, Start things off with this roam clear. Hat does manage to pick up a kill on the Scoob.Tube through the floor, putting that Jackal to great effect. Good opener secured. A little bit of an extension still over towards the top floor as Volsper slowly makes his way down the staircase as the drones come through. Minute 30 has been taken, about half the round, to be able to clear out this room, and it has been cleared. Along with that, Forsaken managed to get themselves an advantage, so definitely favored inside this round. They've got more than enough time to start opening up that breach, looking at getting some pressure mounted towards site. But they got to start working quick if they don't want that timer to start running out.
This final minute of gameplay starts to tick down. You can hear that vertical again coming out. We talked about it in the opening, how good Forsaken is at playing the vertical side. A little bit late here to getting this main breach open, but they have got it now. The sight line's open, pushing in from the backside of sight and now the front. They're going to put some pressure and some squeeze on the Spaceshoobs. They're all rotated back down, holding down to those basement positions, and Forsaken is getting ready to make that execute happen.
Starting to come through. A little bit of a trap here set at the bottom of those teller's stairs. Teddy holding the crossfire with his teammate over towards security room. Siege, I believe that is. That's dangerous if they are able to catch one of these players off. The time's getting real low, so they got to start moving. Toaster does find the opener as the push comes through. Terminator position revealed. Teddy wins the fight. Alert coming through. Hat playing trigger disciplines. Going to be able to take the head off Toaster and continue to press forward for a second. A third.
The quad!
Could get the ace here. Volsper, the last alive, over towards yellow, but he will be shut down. Kool-Aid with the jiggles around the doorway, but that entire round comes down to an incredible 4K out of a Hat.
Man, he stepped up exactly when they needed to. I'm not quite the ace, but he picks up the 4-piece. Man, Hat on fire right there. That's one of the things you see from the pros trying to make it back into Pro League. And again, this is it, their opportunity. Only one team can make it from this bracket into Pro League. They are fighting their way. This is the semifinal game. The winner goes to the upper bracket finals that takes place next Saturday.
That's an insane round, Whiskey. I can't believe what I just witnessed. Hat, trigger discipline onto Toaster. Toaster not a clue that he was there, simply lurking up that server hall, and then you wait until he turns to be putting a bullet in his skull. The confidence that takes to make that play, and what it allowed Hat to do was quickly close the gap so that the remaining Spaceshoobs defenders who were in position to get a refrag onto Toaster weren't able to quickly enough turn around and engage with the Jackal. A beautiful play out of him and a huge factor in how Forsaken were able to win that round. That was incredible, Whiskey.
Man, you said it. Fantastic gameplay. The trigger discipline, man, we have seen that be one of the defining factors, it feels like, as this T2 competition is going down. The teams that are making mistakes, the teams that are winning, capitalizing on those mistakes. Exactly what you saw there. And Hat sitting at 7-1-0, a single death to 7 kills at this point. Man, he is absolutely on fire and is going to be a significant thorn in the Spaceshoob sides. They're on defense. 70% defensive win rate on this map until today. They have got to step it up a little bit more at this point, because at this point, Forsaken has picked up what we'd call the standard split. They've done their job. They've won their 2 on attack.
That's a great start. It's what they really need. Exige going down. Hat finding another one. Taking a ton of damage in the process as he sneaks up those spiral stairs. But he finds the kill, and that's
no way! No way!
And then somehow Kento jumping out the same window behind him. No, he's hunted out CEO. The fight's coming through. Toaster with a double on the round. And the chaos in the first minute of this Consulate upstairs attack, Whiskey, has been unbelievable. Terminator the last alive, but that's all it'll be. Teddy shutting down a couple. Toaster locking down the site, swinging behind that mirror window, managing to take down the Grim. And the next thing you know, the round's over. Spaceshoobs tie it up at 2.
I can't believe Teddy got another kill on the same jump out. Man, I don't know whether or not it's a good call to be throwing away your life. Yes, he picked up a double last time. This time, it seems like he is straight just... The 1-for-1 trade, I don't know that it's worth it. You are playing against Forsaken. Yeah, they managed to pick up the win there, but it feels like it was a dangerous proposition and maybe a little too risky for this team.
I think the word to describe that round is just chaos. I really liked what I saw out of Hat. towards the start, using the Jackal to sneak in through the basement and work his way up spiral stairs. And obviously that found impact. But the thing is, Spaceshoobs are not what you'd call an idle team. And because of the fact that those fights came through, Teddy goes, oh, I gotta make something happen. Next thing you know, he's sending out a window, and then all of a sudden, there's Toaster there as well, peeking down the hatch, peeking the vert, swinging off of those fights because he knows things are going down, and this is his time to make it happen. So he manages to take a few fights, he manages to win them, and Spaceshoobs, next thing you know, find themselves in an overwhelming advantage. Just Terminator last alive, with the Grim in, say, a bit of an unfavorable position, standing directly in front of a mirror window. And yeah, Spaceshoobs, a really good defense out of them. A little bit chaotic, but you know what? At this point, you'll take it, especially considering your opponents have already managed to get the most rounds they realistically need on the attacking side of Consulate.
Man, you said it. At this point, we're watching them work on this, work on the utility again, utilizing the drones. Kento bringing out the Brava again. This has been an important op for them as they try and gain a little bit of intel on this team. But the big question, man, is we're going to see Teddy start throwing away his life again, jumping out the window. This second floor site, that has been his hallmark. Exige going to go down again, man. He is struggling right now to get anything going. 0-5. That is a tough start for the man.
Aggression out of Kento, working towards top yellow, and this looks like it's going to be fast out of Forsaken. They've already taken away a ton of space from the defensive Spaceshoobs, managing to find that opener. Traded back, but another jump out. Scoob is out the window, and he's looking to try and find a fight, but Kento's
no way.
Too good. Playing time, taking his time with it, knowing that he doesn't need to rush it, that his opponent is revealed, that he's going to start to get antsy, and suddenly an advantage is once again overwhelming. The Blitz able to do so much later on, but he's not even going to need to have his hat off that pixel. Manages to take the head off Pulse for leaving just Toaster, and here's the Blitz. Here's another player shooting you in the back. Kento takes you down. But that's just all Forsaken. Everything throughout that round going their way.
Well, and certainly at this point, reading into the run out, reading into the aggression there, Teddy and the run out managed to get 2 on round 1, 1 on round 3, and then 0 as we hit round 5. So that's a definite unfortunate situation for them. I think at this point, Forsaken is ready for it, expecting it, and if you're not even gonna get a trade for the work, definitely don't try that trick again. Forsaken has picked up a 3rd on attack, which would absolutely should have been a 4-2 at the best there for the Forsaken team. They have done their work, and right now they're putting the Spaceshoobs a little bit on the back foot. This is Forsaken's map pick. They do have the opportunity here to try and, you know, balance it out when they get to their choice, but man, that's a tough spot to be in to start off on map 1.
I think it's really showing that this is a map that Forsaken is more comfortable on, and that's what they want, right? Playing this map, picking this map as the one that you want to go to in this best of 3 means that you're expected to be comfortable on it, and we're absolutely seeing that in this attacking side. They have some excellent ideas consistently for how to approach, how to be aggressive in the giant map, which is Consulate, where the defense can't contest everything. There's always going to be gaps in the setup, and in my mind, Forsaken has been doing a phenomenal job of exploiting them. Most of that coming down to some great work out of Hat, finding those lurks, finding those openings, getting himself into positions the defense just simply doesn't expect. And I think you can see it in his scoreline, 9-2 already. If you can keep that up, especially getting into the second half, we could be seeing some pretty big numbers in this first map of Consulate.
That is the greatest moment in my life, bro. All right, as we get into this, that first 30 seconds down, taking the slow approach, that's really been sort of the hallmark of these Forsaken attacks. They work fairly slowly, but in general, they're picking up that opening pick nearly every round. Hat just continues this dominance. 10-2? 10-2 to start it off. Gasher sitting at 1-3, not being a huge part of this attack right now, letting Hat and this individual heroics sort of carry this team, but they're working this a little bit slow, clearing out all that utility, and then the collapse comes. Spaceshoobs so far have been unable to deal with that style of play.
Just gotta shut down Hat, man. That's the one player that's really finding all that impact. Otherwise, the scoreline on the side of Forsaken is nothing to write home about. I mean, Kento's done okay, and he's managed to find his impact frags when they matter, but look at Kool-Aid and Gasher. I mean, these guys haven't even really gotten into the game. If you shut down Hat, never know. Spaceshoobs may yet be able to pull this round out of the hat.
I like what you did there. Yeah, well played, Highberry. I mean, you said it though. Hat is absolutely, he's become the win condition. He is the guy that the Spaceshoobs defense needs to find, shut down. And he's playing the Jackal at this point, making it difficult for them to roam, difficult for them to find any opportunity at this point to try and clear out space. But the other one they got to watch out for, Kool-Aid is opening all of this vertical space, and jeez,
come on.
The intel,
Are you kidding me?
Perfectly played by Hat and his team.
The worst part is, you saw one of the Spaceshoobs defenders wanted to reinforce that wall earlier on, but they didn't have enough reinforcements. They pinged it. But Hat eventually will be taken down. Exige finding his opening pick of the map. Another player down, but the plant is started. They need to be able to shut this down. Otherwise, this post plant becomes impossible. The freeze on Thermite is not going to take him down. He will be able to stick the plant, and now the retake is on. Exige and Teddy forced to go for it. One player injured, as mentioned before, but still so tough with that vertical control. Gotta move fast. A little bit of damage onto Teddy's position revealed.
No way!
Finish off the player. Terminator taking him down. Suddenly, Exige is left upstairs fighting ghosts. The entirety of the attack has vacated the premises apart from one, but he's not going to be able to find the fight. Oh, maybe one. Can he find another? One more player upstairs. Some shots rang off a moment ago, so he knows. Swinging deep, but Kool-Aid with the read manages to pick him up perfectly. Play in the space, understanding I got to back up, I got to work forward. He's got to push me, and that's what matters. Even if Exige wins the fight, we still get the round, and we see it happen. Forsaken, 4-2 on the attacking side of Consulate. Such a dominant position for them to find themselves.
They played the vertical perfectly at that point, getting one kill through the hatch, making sure that that the Spaceshoobs team couldn't make the rotate back upstairs, had to take that fight direct, and just even though Kool-Aid wasn't on that, wasn't the kill leader, he played that position perfect. They took advantage of every Spaceshoobs mistake, and you said it, everything going their way. And a dominant first half of map 1 here of this semifinal between Forsaken and Spaceshoobs. This map is to decide, this best of 3 is to decide who is going to the upper bracket finals next Saturday to take on the winner of that Revelations M80X game going on the mainstream.
An exciting game that's bound to be. Sadly, you don't get to see it, but bless getting to see this one instead. Obviously, it's not stopping, but we got Volsper and Hat. Still excellent players and an excellent game here. As we get into the second half, Forsaken on the defense, playing a similar lineup to what we saw Spaceshoobs bringing along. Lots of stall, bringing the Goyo, the smoke, a couple C4s. Kind of very normal for a top floor defense on this map.
Yeah, I love the area denial. This is a great combo with the Goyo and the smoke both coming out, making this difficult for the Spaceshoobs or any attacking team at this point to gain a little bit of control, gain a little bit of space. They're going to have to work very early on and quickly to try and clear out that utility, burn the smokes, get close enough, or take him down. And it's Hat running the Vector again with a pair of impacts on his belt. This is a tough lineup here for the Spaceshoobs, bringing out the two things I like on their side. The shield bringing out the blitz, and then Teddy running the Finca. Give this team a little bit of extra boost, that little health. They can survive 1 or 2 engagements and go on to win. It's going to be the difference maker here.
Position revealed at the bottom of those yellow stairs. Hat could get cut off here if Shoobs are able to get a player in behind him. He's going to continue. He's going to actually rotate off and get out of the way. Now playing inside of Expo down below. But that's no longer contained. So safe for now, able to escape as the Shoobs start to get their attack ready over towards top yellow.
Starting to hear it.
In, not revealing the player. Execute. Looking like it might be coming through in just a moment, but so far nothing. Brief moment of calm. Calm before the storm, if you will, like the hurricane's just about to hit. Exige, the first one to take a bit of damage, backing off as he pops that hatch. Make a boost come through, smoke's coming out, the blitz in towards top yellow, getting pressed, feeling the pressure. staying alive at least for now as he backs off, giving up a bit more space. A grenade in for some support. Some util has been burned, but it's going to be so hard to make this entry. C4
What
comes
chaos!
out to pick up Toaster. Smoke continuing the press. The pistol coming out. Scoob managing to find one, continuing to fight. And the advantage actually has landed on the side of Spaceshoobs, growing by the moment as Volsper makes his way inside the window. He's onto the player. Kool-Aid revealed, pistol whip, and taking him down. All of a sudden, the plant has started. Hat's the last alive, having made his way back to the stairs. He'll need to clutch with the headshot on one. He continues to fight. The shield manages to blind him out, and the pistol will be able to take him down. Scoob finding so much impact, keeping himself alive throughout that round. Hat seemingly having no idea he's there. Sprinting right by, and the pistol will be enough to take him down. Put him to sleep in Spaceshoobs. One attack for the first on this side.
Man, just absolute chaos. That was a roller coaster of a round. I thought for sure we were going to see the Forsaken come out on top there after Hat picks up a double kill again, continues to pad the KD. The man's at 13 kills on round 8 of this game so far, but then the Spaceshoobs come back. That Finka gadget coming in clutch as we watch Blitz move from the yellow smoke to the pink smoke, just fighting through it, manages to find that final kill. Man, Blitz, that was the difference maker in this round, and even though Hat picked up that double, Spaceshoobs fought through it. So we're gonna see a second floor defense again. It was close, but man, attacker-sided Consulate here in the semifinal.
I got a bit nervous when I saw that C4 land at Toaster's feet towards top yellow. Him going down, I was like, well, that's the spearhead of your push. Yeah, Scoob is still alive, but without any support, how much impact can a Fenrir-blinded Blitz really find? Little did I know. He'd continue to make things happen, pulling out that pistol and finding maximum impact. I think 3 kills for him on the round, and if not 3, at least 2, and a ton of space taken away. I think that really comes down to some beautiful work on the Blitz out of Scoob, keeping himself alive despite the 4-man press onto his position. And Spaceshoops will manage to take it, though a little bit scary at moments.
Oh, I love that coming out there. That BJL playing the Thorn, of bringing out those razors. He waits until after they use and clear out some of that utility at the top of the window, and then tosses that in to make sure that it's not destroyed as part of that Goyo canister popping.
Yeah, a little bit of an adaptation here out of Forsaken, understanding that the way that Spaceshoobs are dealing with the util on the window is just a grenade from outside. So taking it down that time, the Goyo canisters popped, but replaced instantly by Terminator. That's going to be an extra little problem that the Spaceshoobs are going to have to deal with as they go to push in through that window this time. Out with a jump out, looking to find a pick, and he will manage to take down
No
Toaster.
way.
He's been so good inside this map. The headshot just barely found. Z's trying to find the refrag, but Hat's already managed to get away. Gonna re-engage, looking for a fight. Hat taking a bunch of damage as he sprints back towards reception. But he does manage to reposition, and there's nobody else on Spaceshoobs who are in a position to punish.
Yeah, this one feels like a little bit of a slow take at this point, too. We talked about it during the Forsaken rounds that it seemed like it was a little bit slow, but that did not hurt this team at all. The Blitz trying to make his push down, running and chasing Hat, but he is running away, survives. He's almost lost a ton of his life, but survives another day. 14-4, man. Hat is absolutely on fire. He's the guy. Blitz needs to chase him. They need him to stay downstairs away from this attack, this execute.
Hat just constantly finding ways to harass, shooting these defenders in the back, being a non-stop thorn in their side, and keeping himself alive. Smoke coming out over towards yellow, forcing Blitz back, stalling out this push just a little bit longer. And Spaceshoobs, they need to get a move on if they want to make this happen, but Volsper taken down. The advantage continues to grow. Hat not taken down might have been a crucial misstep earlier on, but oh my, Exesion in sight. He'll find one, taken down, traded. Scoob as well, dropped as he tries to push through. Teddy, the last alive, in a terrible position here, over towards top yellow, smoked off, unable to help his teammate. The fire there, more smokes, more flashbangs, elemines, whatever they can throw at him, they're hitting his way. He'll find one. Gasher taken down, going for the reload, only 18 bullets left in that LMG mag. Decides to switch up the pistol and actually does manage to take down another, and you just start to believe, Whiskey. Just a moment to reload, a slight pause as that fire continues to burn, some shoulder peaks to try and reveal the position of the players, and the Finka boost to come through as he attempts that push, but oh, lurking is Kento. He's trying to find this kill, and he will manage to take down Teddy.
Yeah, great trigger discipline there. He could have popped up, taken the shot, might have missed, and then had a face full of LMG, but waits until the right opportunity, puts a ton of extra pressure, the time ticking down. Forsaken picks up another, and man, 5-3. That's one of the first, let's see, we saw a couple defensive wins, but finally Forsaken picks one up at this point. Spaceshoobs 2 away from tying it up. Are we going to continue to see the dominance of the attackers on this map, or is Forsaken going to pick up some pace here on their map pick?
2 rounds separate these teams, the same we saw as the half swap came through. Spaceshoobs managing to win that first attack and getting that second one somewhat close. I think we could have seen a very different situation if Hat had been taken down earlier on, but the fact that that Goyo was able to waste so much time and then still miraculously escape back to site just threw Spaceshoobs for a loop. They could never really get anything going inside that round, and as they got a bit desperate as the time came through, we saw a really interesting play out of Exige, I believe, rappelling in the connector window upstairs and finding a player, shooting him in the back. Obviously, no more impact found beyond that, but got scary for a moment. A little bit of potential for the Shoobs to work their way back into that, and I think that's probably the biggest thing worth noting inside of this game is neither of these teams are ever really out of a round. They've got layers on layers when it comes to their attacks. They're always willing to try something to bring it over the line. And Shoobs showing us just how they attempt that as Exige goes for something a little brazen towards the end of that round.
You bring out a great point there. When we looked at the first half of this map, the first 4 rounds were back and forth, and since then, we've only seen one team, Forsaken, win 2 rounds in a row. Other than that, it has been back and forth. The scoreline is showing a 5-3, but you said it, the Spaceshoobs have been in every round. The Forsaken have been in every round that the Spaceshoobs have won. It has been close, coming down to the wire. We haven't seen a truly dominant performance outside of, like, maybe that 1v4 that Teddy was trying to fight his way through, but other than that, you said it, it's been close between these two.
Here comes Blitz being sent in, but the long angle being held. Kento saving his teammate's life. Terminator managing to stay alive, and Gasher there for the support will take down Exige. Terminator persisting over towards the piano and finding a pick for himself, a second as well. Pulse for the last alive, given a couple of fights, manages to do a bit of damage, but the Shoobs have all dropped, and Terminator,
flawless,
excellent as ever, over towards piano, shuts down the entirety of Spaceshoob, sprinting towards his isolated position.
We may have seen that that message pop up here that they're going to take a little bit of a rehost at this point. So for us, we're going to take a quick break as we work on getting that lobby set back up. It is rehost there for the ping right now. Forsaken on match point. What's up and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. Map 1 is over. Welcome everyone here to the NAL Challenger Series. We are in the semifinals, fighting to see who might be playing M80X or Revelations in the upper bracket final next weekend. Our game today, Forsaken versus Spaceshoobs. Map 1 done and dusted. 7-4 victory for Forsaken on their map pick of Consulate, and we get to go to Border.
Couldn't be more different from map 1. Obviously, Consulate being quite the large, very defensive-sided map. Border, I mean, what do you think when you see Border? Attacker favored,
yes,
tiny,
yes,
1 room away from site, no matter where you are, and just constant chaos. I mean, we could not ask for more different, and Shoob, they're looking to prove, to show us that they're actually here to play, and they're going to be in this match.
Yeah, that's right. And for everybody wondering, very much appreciate High Bear stepping in last minute on Easter to fill in for Whiskey Glitter with me. Thank you very much, my friend, for being available and for everyone being here watching the games today.
Couldn't ask for more. I mean, love getting to cast my boys over on the side of Spaceshoobs, my absolute goats over there. For those who don't know, I actually teamed with a couple of these players back in the day. Exige in particular, he and I actually played his first competitive Siege tournament together. That's been wonderful getting to watch him grow over the years. Now playing in the Challenger Series, 1 step away from Pro League, and looking to see if he can actually manage to qualify. I mean, that sure would be something. Seeing the Spaceshoobs, that little cute logo of theirs, inside a pro league, that tier 1 level. Not to glaze too hard, but I feel like it would be something worth doing. Yubi, make it happen.
This is the time. You've got a few minutes left here to try and predict who do you want to win this game. It is map 2 between these two. We talked about it early on during map 1. At least one shield going down every single game, and interestingly, we're going to see the Spaceshoobs follow suit, ban the Deimos again against this Forsaken team that is so good on the vertical. They do not want to have to deal with that as the option here, because Border, tons of verticality, tons of ability for that for the Deimos to play downstairs. And the second floor site, so good from a defensive perspective. You know that's where we're starting off.
Getting into this one. Operator ban's pretty standard, as you're saying. Obviously, like Zombie, Deimos, Blackbeard, all taken away last map as well. Actually, I can't remember. Was the Valkyrie taken down as well? Is it the exact same 4 bans as we saw last time?
It was Valk, yeah, we saw Valk and Azami, so they're being very consistent, even though the map completely different, the playstyle completely different. The operators that they don't want to have to deal with, exactly the same.
Maybe it says something about how powerful those 4 operators are.
Located by attackers.
I'm not an expert or anything, but maybe they're pretty good.
I mean, yeah, when we take a look at how the bans have gone throughout the entire NAL at this point, Blackbeard is the top, the number 1 with 21%, and you got to go down a little bit far to find Deimos. He's only been banned about 10%, the same amount as Dokkaebi. So the Shields, the number 1 and 2, Blackbeard and Monty. On the defensive side, Valk is definitely the number 1 still, but again, Azami down in that 3rd position. I'm a little surprised that teams have been banning Tubrow and Cade more often than Azami because of how good she is. On this map in particular, though, I think she brings something special because we talk about all of the soft breach potential, so many soft walls on this map, only 10 reinforcements available. Having the Azami to make some of these walls bulletproof and on the fly makes her particularly powerful. So from the defensive side, we're going to see a Forsaken not running the Tubrow or the Cade in this case. They're wanting to run a little bit of the aggression. The Ella coming out from Kento again.
Interesting setup here, being played by Forsaken. Using those castle barriers to create some problems here for the Spaceshoobs. Obviously, they'll answer with some explosive utility of their own to clear those out as we get into the round. The Flores, notably, as well as the Zofia. A repel going on here, getting ready to challenge those head holes. Nobody to answer. Kool-Aid rotating off towards Metal as the pressure starts to ramp over towards CC. Though notably, most of the Shoobs actually over towards East End, already making their way inside. See Zofia stun onto the player inside a break room, but
what a jump out!
Take down Toaster, traded but not finished off. Terminator down on the ground, but possible to be rescued. Gasher with the fight on Volsper will be the hero that Terminator needs as he slowly, carefully crawls away, repositions, gets himself away, and Kento here to answer.
Wow, what an exchange.
Up the way of Forsaken so far. The exchange coming through. Scoob, sorry, looking to try and find something elsewhere as he knows the fights went down towards East. He has an opportunity to make his way inside of Armory. He doesn't have case, he doesn't have anything, and a player sitting on those walls, the tiny holes made earlier on, will manage to take him down, leaving just Teddy last alive. Desperation setting in as he jumped through the window, bullets whizzing around his head, standing on top of a road sign as he tries to escape. The Fenrir trap revealing his position, and everyone knows where he is, and all it'll take is Hat, who's had such an incredible game so far, to jump out that window, put a little bullet in his skull, take him down.
Damn, a flawless. The number of flawless games we've seen here throughout the playoffs, I think rounds, surprising the number. We saw a ton of them yesterday during the M80X game, and now 3 of them again today. Most, though, on the Forsaken side. Spaceshoobs managed to pull off 1, but the fact that they are so good. The defensive side here, Forsaken picking up a flawless to start off on what is and a little bit of an attacker-sided map speaks volumes about the preparation that this team had. We talked about it a little bit during the break and at the beginning. Spaceshoobs did lose Border to Karn & Co. in their last semifinal, or their last Swiss stage game. They went on to win that series 2-1, so it didn't matter at that point, but I definitely feel like high risk, high reward choice for this team. It is time for the Spaceshoobs to step it up. All of the pressure on this team today.
I think the big player to watch in this map, Whiskey, it's going to be Exige. And I'm a huge fan of Exige. I've been around this dude for ages now, and I've seen him put up numbers, perform. We really didn't see that last map on Consulate. He looked like he was struggling. We're going to need to see him wake up as we get into border here, or at least find a bit more impact than he'd found previously. Because as of now, just haven't seen him manage to collect very much on Consulate and so far on border.
I agree. It was a little bit uncharacteristic gameplay for him on Consulate. Surprising. Hat was the man, the unstoppable Forsaken player, and he's already started a little bit of this reign of dominance, already picking up 2 here on map 1, so he is having a fantastic series today. Spaceshoobs is going to have to find a way to shut that man down and to start to take over this team. Starting slow right now on border again at this point. I mean, almost feels like struggling on attack in general today. It comes down to it, you know, you got to show up on game day no matter how good you are. Spaceshoobs need to pull that off.
Scoop punching this castle barrier. Top east looking to get open up. Volsper will be there with a nade to make sure it gets open without too much risk to their bodies.
Attackers dropped the
Grenade
diffuser.
prepped, but Exige will be the first one taken down. Once again, Hat finding that impact. Smoke grenade out. We see Scoob sprinting in up the back of it, looking to engage with the players lower east, and he will take down the castle. But there's another player here over on the catwalk. Going prone inside the smoke is Volsper. He is injured. The answer with the C4 to take him down, but Scoob with the pistol does manage to get the trade, keeping things even. Teddy, though, dropping. Suddenly, advantage over on the side of Forsaken. They've managed to find impact, but Kool-Aid takes damage. Becoming more and more possible by the moment. Lots of time, too, for them to work with, and here they come. They've actually managed to make their way inside the site. They don't have the case, so they can't yet go for a plant, but Scoob chasing down that site player, looking to try and take him down, though Gasher does manage to pick him up with the C4.
Man, that's 2 C4 kills coming out. This Forsaken team hitting all the right spots, and oh no, Exige calling it out. A little bit of a potential option there the admin's going to take a look at. Right now, Toaster, the last one left alive, the last attacking man. BJL ready for him, though, waiting below the hatch.
That's a bit of a protest coming through. Typing in chat, telling them to do so if they've got a problem with it. Spaceshoobs are down 0-2, but may see a pause coming in just a second if they are running skins that they're not allowed.
It looks like
We'll see what happens.
Looks like they're gonna let it go at this point. Yeah, not gonna slow up the game. I think they say this is not the reason that we're going down. This is they're gonna play this one out. Forsaken ready to win it, and 2 defensive rounds picked up by this team right now. It feels like this is not the Spaceshoobs team that we saw be dominant versus JJ and Co. yesterday, and but there's still plenty of siege left to be played. We're in a best of 3. We're in map 2. Spaceships only have to come up a win here to force that map 3, and then we go to the Great Equalizer Clubhouse. Both of these teams having wins on that map. That one is going to be a back and forth banger.
Oh yeah, surely, and I'm hoping we get to see it. But first, Shoobs, you're gonna need to get a couple of rounds on border. So far, nothing found. Forsaken all the way, and relatively dominant in both of those previous 2. I did like what Shoob started going for there, with the smoke towards top east, sending it down in order to kill Hat. Just missing one crucial aspect, that player over towards Catwalk, who was able to pick up the Finka as the push came through towards top east. So if they manage to do just a little bit better in ensuring that they have everything they need locked down, I think Shoob, the way they play this game with lots of micro plays in their attacks and very together in their approach, we could see them find a little more success in this first half, but they need to get things going. And a bit of aggression here. Holy Hat. Going
Wow.
for a run out. See if we can find anyone over towards front door. Nothing as of yet, and opts not to send it over the banister, but oh my. At this point, the way Hat's been playing, I just don't write anything off.
Yeah, he's playing with the level of confidence I think that we haven't seen from him in a little bit of a while at this point. Going crazy, just playing on top of this. We see this push coming in. The shields making their way through the entry, and there it is. Exige with the plant going down.
Will we be spotted. Some smoke grenades coming out, but they're not getting the plant or getting damage. Chip it away.
He got it!
But he does manage to stick the plant, and Shoob managed to find the opener as well. Suddenly, bodies dropping, everyone popping off. Everything's happening at once. Players inside of sight, but he wishing shots. They don't have enough bullets to take down this Wamai on the rotate. I want to try and melee the player, but the shield getting knocked away.
Yo!
Finished, and suddenly it's just Gasher left alive, sending out a window, but oh my god, there's no one there. They're in the sight, Gasher. They've already managed to take away that space, and the pistols from the shields will be enough, taking down those sight players, and the retake from outside the building. Not as successful as maybe Gasher had hoped.
Okay, I gotta say, when we on Consulate, one of the rounds that the spaceships were very successful on was a blitz push that went crazy, and we sort of see that happen again here. That plant was down within the first minute of gameplay. That is crazy. A little bit of a rush, and it's certain that they spotted an opportunity in the Forsaken defense. Not enough utility, not enough players on that main door, able to just jump in and plant a vent very quickly. Well played on their part. They didn't really need to focus on the upper side of that site, the vertical. That's typically where you see such a big hold coming out from the defense. They just said, let's rush in and plant, pull it off, the double shield play, and then just run that back all the way to a round win. Spaceships pick up one, even this thing up a little bit closer on their way to tying it up.
And that's the thing I love about Spaceshoobs, is they're not afraid to go for those sorts of plays where it is unpredictable and maybe fundamentally you're missing a couple of steps, but who cares? You're winning rounds, you're getting case down, and you understand the win condition inside the round. We're not playing ranked, we're playing comp. These rounds can be won by unpredictability and playing the objective as long as everybody's on the same page. And with Shoob, you better believe every single one of them is just as crazy as the next.
Oof, man, you said it. We've got this we're still seeing a lot of site setup here taking place. We're already 15 seconds into the main round at this point. They gotta have to watch out for this Spaceshoobs defense, or this Spaceshoobs attack. They had a little bit of a rush play, but this round, taking it a little bit slower, working on the setup here. Maybe gonna take down that bulletproof cam with the Ash. We don't have a Mira available, not being played right now, even though she is available. Haven't seen Forsaken really lean into her as an operator, but on this on the Spaceship side, the thing I like, Scoob bringing out the blitz again.
A little piece of utility being taken down. Obviously, the Ash used to take out the bulletproof camo.
Yo!
Despite the utility, Kool-Aid will find the opener, and Hat with a second. Forsaken have been so good at swinging these players as they've been setting up for their attacks, not really letting Shoobs get into a spot where they feel comfortable enough to actually go for anything, swinging ahead of it relatively consistently, and 2 picks is the advantage that's already been found inside this round. Bit of utility exchanged, but Shoobs, nothing found, nothing answered.
Oh, I was gonna say, we have seen a lot of 5v3 scenarios in this NAL playoff scenario here, and like we said earlier, a lot of flawless rounds. When a team gets hot, they just continue that momentum forward, and right now, Forsaken continuing this streak, not in a 5v3 anymore, a 5v2 in this last minute 17 left, all up to Exige and Teddy, both who have yet to find a kill at all in this game. This is their opportunity. Plenty of blue bodies out on the map. They just got to get themselves in the right position to take advantage of it.
Little spot out of Terminator here under the window. Not likely to find anyone as there's nobody over there, and Hat seems absolutely
no
insistent
way
on killing everyone. Some bees, but he doesn't even care. He just walks right through them, pings on his position, but as long as he's got the crosshair placement perfectly correct, just a couple shots from that MP7 will be more than enough to take them down, and Spaceshoobs taken what feels like a much-needed timeout to discuss what's going wrong and how they can fix it.
Yeah, I think the big thing in that round for sure was, we talked about it, Scoob playing the blitz, the shield being an important part of the push, whether it was on Consulate before, now here on Border, and what happens? He goes down early and is an unrecoverable situation for the Spaceships. Hat, again, absolutely on fire, 6-2-2 at this point, MVP of the last map. MVP of this map currently. They've got to figure out a way. We said it on Consulate. He is the win condition for this team. They've got to take him down, maybe a little bit of the linchpin for the way that this Forsaken team is playing. They're up 1-0 in the best of 3. All the pressure on Spaceshoobs. They must win on border if they want to see map 3 and an opportunity for that upper bracket final game.
Not over yet, by any means. Could even still see a tied first half if Spaceshoobs are able to pick up just 2 more rounds, which is more than doable, especially if they lean into their unpredictability a bit more. See a shield being picked already. Scoob hopping on the blitz, looking to bring that thing along. He's been pretty good on that thing as of yet, being the one who picked up multiple frags on their previous time attacking this bathroom bomb site. Using that pistol to great effect. And I also think back to Consulate, a couple of rounds that he was really the hero. Find an impact on that shield operator. But he's not the one that I'm worried about, honestly, Whiskey. It's the rest of Shoobs. They have been a little slow to wake up today. And despite the fact that they did pick up a couple of rounds on Consulate so far on border, there's been one player who's been there to answer the call, and everybody else is maximum 1 kill to their name. It's not enough.
No, I agree. This is for sure a struggle coming out of this team. Not what we expected, and you said it. The fact that Scoob, the only guy who's made any real progress, Toaster picking up 1. Now he's going to play the glass, though. I love that pick here for this team. Try and take some shots, maybe the window play. They're downstairs in the bathroom. We've seen this upside down rappel be very successful. Is it going to be enough here for this team? Time will tell, but you said it. There's still a lot of siege left to be played. Forsaken, though, just right now has been on a run, and Spaceshoobs have not had an answer back for this team, even on the attacker-sided map.
This is cool. A little bit of a Candela being tossed in through that skylight. Maybe a push coming in off the back. Yes, sending it in the window is Scoop. Takes a ton of damage.
Oh, no.
Inside, but Terminator has the answer. That SMG-11 through the smoke will take him down. He's trying to plant, but the smoke doing damage. He's dropped. Suddenly, everything seemingly going the way of Forsaken. Only Toaster last alive with that Glaz rifle. Could have seen through the smoke, but there's no one who peeked the smoke. They peeked from every other side. The rush perhaps a bit too predictable on the side of Spaceshoobs as Toaster sprinting forward is able to be easily picked up.
And if Whiskey Glitter jeez, I'm gonna get there. If he was here, he would say, you broke rule number 1. You run, you die. As he makes his way up the stairs, down the hallway, into the waiting arms of Malusi. Unfortunate there for the Spaceshoobs. Man, a 4-1 half right now. They are in danger of a 5-1 half at this point, and that you certainly cannot do on border going into your defensive half on the attacker-sided map. Forsaken right now hitting, not making any mistakes, taking advantage of it, and continuing a little bit of the hat dominance. This is a team that is full of stacked pros, ex-pros, and the Spaceshoobs. They are an inventive, they are a fun team, but right now they're getting run over by Forsaken.
Well had at this point. Terminator's managed to catch right up to him in terms of scoreline. Real good round out of him, being the one who shut down that point of ingress, the spearhead of that blitz of Scoob. The rest of Forsaken seemingly also woken up. Think back to last map where Pat was on, I believe, like 14 kills or something crazy like that, and he still had 2 teammates on 1. Not the case on border. Everyone's here to play, and it's showing. Forsaken running up that scoreline, and Shoobs, they need to pick up this round if they really want a realistic chance at being able to force map 3.
Now, to me, the great part about this is, and again, if you're just joining us, welcome everyone to the semifinals here in the NAL Challenger Series. The good news is, it is a double elimination bracket. Right now, neither of these teams are in a win or go home scenario because we're in the upper bracket still. If they lose, they are going to go down and play lower bracket games starting next weekend. So they've got the opportunity. It's obviously better if they can make it to that upper bracket final, maybe take on M80, maybe take on Revelation. We're not sure yet, but staying in the upper bracket certainly the preferable option. But we don't have to worry about either of these teams going home yet. They're fighting for positioning, fighting for a little bit of ego at this point. Can you stop this team? But man, Hat continues his dominance, 6-2-2.
Confident with that boss G, though Kool-Aid will be the one to find not just the opener, but the second as well. With that SMG-11, Hat continuing his dominance, picking up Teddy, and everything going the way of Forsaken, finally taken down, but doing so much damage onto Toaster. Just one bullet will be enough to take him down, and surely Whiskey, we're looking at a 5-1 half. The run out, shut down. A little bit of a nomad air job to slow that down, but he's just going for another run out. Might as well keep sending out the building. Toaster looking to try and bring it back. Picks up one. The Mira off the board. Nobody in the hallway. He's being pressed. The wrap coming through. CC and Kool-Aid.
There it is.
On the round for him as he picks up one with the shotgun, one with the C4, and one with the SMG. Putting everything in his kit to good use.
Oh, you said it. 5-1 half. That is unfortunate territory here for the Spaceshoobs. You are in an absolutely dire situation at this point. It is time to turn up the heat and fight back. Right now, the Forsaken team is up 1-0 in this best of 3. They already put down a 7-4 victory on Consulate. The Spaceshoobs on their map pick of border here, down 5-1 on their attacking half. So this could say they're a tremendously good defensive team. They can fight back here, take down Forsaken, but against a team of pros, against a team that right now is firing on all cylinders, they've got their work cut out for them. And Hat still the man to stop, but Kool-Aid and BJL have both come back in a big way.
Opposite them, however, is quite a depressing scoreline. Exige, not found one. Teddy, not found one. Volsper got his first, nothing else. Scoob and Toaster have really been the only two to get kills. And first-person shooter, Whiskey, you need to get some kills. You need to find frags. If you're not winning rounds. And I think you can see that on the scoreboard so far on border. Spaceshoobs, my heart breaks for them, but there needs to be more. They need to be better. We need to see them wake up in these next couple of rounds before I have any faith in a comeback.
You and me both, because right now, we said it, a dire situation for this team. What can they do? They need to do something, and they need to do it quick. They've only got, at this point, 2 more opportunities if they can't find a win here. This is early on in this game. There is still Siege left to be played, but the Spaceshoobs being down a map, put in a difficult position. What they've got, I like what they brought out. The combination of the Mira, the Fenrir, and this Goyo going to slow this team down a little bit. Prepped, ready for the run out. They're holding many of the same angles and a very aggressive defensive stance. They're waiting, not pushing the advantage, though, and that thing is going to be the difference maker here. Don't over-peak your position.
Volsper aggressive. Peeking around that balcony. Nabog trying to catch one of those players on the rappel. Great job, actually, shooting out that sense gadget to deny that being played to cut off the line of sight from his teammates, but Exige will go down.
Oh, no.
Injured over towards top east, unlikely to be recoverable, and Scoob revealing his position with a couple of shots as the jiggle comes through. Forced to back away, will get himself to the relative safety of break room. The advantage has now been secured, and Forsaken, they've taken the space, they've taken top east, and they continue their march on forward.
Holding on to these power positions, but pushed back a little bit, and losing Exige top east, a big opportunity here for the Forsaken team. They pushed their way into office, gained a little bit of ground there, opened up the sight lines into sight. Now gaining control of east. Now they just need to push in and get security as well. You can see the Fenrir holding onto that position, but that wall is soft. Oh, no, it's not. They do have it reinforced. We were gonna say, man, I was a little worried he was about to lose his life to a wall bang.
Staying alive for a moment, but Teddy taken down elsewhere. The body's dropping, still everything favoring Forsaken. Need a hero here. Shoob, who's it going to be? Scoob gets the first. A chance here. The man deficit, not quite as bad as it was. He's still over towards break room, in that position to be a problem, but his teammates are falling down around him. Kenta with some damage.
Wow.
All of a sudden, it's nobody but Scoob. Last alive, that break player, and he hasn't found a soul. He lurks forward, a bit of info, a ping on the player, over towards the blue box. Will take him down. Terminator drop, but the plant has been started, and Scoob is completely locked out of sight. Everyone on Forsaken, guns up, holding.
Okay.
Managed to find at least one, making me start to believe. 40 seconds left. for this retake to come through. Post-plant positions secured. Kento outside the window and Gasher over towards spawn. They will hold, they will play these long angles, they'll use their powerful attacker weapons, those 2.5 scopes, the ACOGs, to be able to shut him down. If he can even close the distance, manage to make the approach towards the case, but he can't find his soul, he doesn't read the positions, he pushes forward, thinks one must be AC, but he can't get the angle, need to try, but the grenade forces him off, 12 seconds, need to start now, need to find both, but there's just no way Whiskey, and one bullet will be all it takes. The LMG has more than that. Taking him down, Scoob with a couple heroics, but it isn't enough, and Forsaken will hit match point.
And Hi Bear, it's not just match point, it's match point, map point, and semi-final series points. If Forsaken takes the next round, one more round required, they move on to that upper bracket final game, and the Spaceshoobs moving down to the lower bracket to do battle against the teams left there. We're going to find out who their opponent would be in the lower bracket game coming up after this one, but man, Forsaken one round away from upper bracket final.
Getting close, they can almost taste it. Teams have been here before and lost, Whiskey. Something tells me Forsaken, they're not feeling the nerves that some others might have faced in similar circumstances.
Yeah.
Got the advantage, it feels secure, it feels like they are confident as all. They just need to lock one more of these next 5 in order to deny the overtime in Spaceshoobs. They need to be perfect. No room for mistakes. They need to wake up now. Otherwise, that's it. You guys are in the lower bracket.
That's right. Done but not out. That's the significant advantage here for the Spaceshoobs. Even though Forsaken is absolutely on a roll, on a tear today. Everybody contributing, firing on all cylinders. The pros have been here, done that. But it's not done and out for Spaceshoobs. They've got the opportunity, but I would love to see this team put up a fight here and want to see map 3. We want to see more siege between these two, but this could be the end of it for this team. Got to step up right now. Love Teddy bringing out the Frost, but man, they have been in the man down, the significant man down positions too often. Scoob in a 1v4, Toaster in a 1v4 twice. They can't get themselves in that position. The opening pick, and man, they gotta hope that it's, well, now Hat, BJL, or Kento, or Kool-Aid, because they're all at that 6, 7, and 8 mark.
Taking a reveal onto Teddy upstairs. The Frost has been spotted, and another one as well over towards this CCTV door. Scoob has been the closest player to being a hero for his team. He's immediately shut down this round. Kento winning that fight, taking a bit of damage, but he'll take that. It's the only real body who's been much of a threat on the side of Spaceshoobs, and here comes the Lurk. Hat pushing forward, aggressive towards this blue lobby, likely unspotted, unknown as of now. Beeper does go off, so maybe a little bit of an inkling, and Toaster does manage to pick it up.
That's huge!
Read out of him, understanding, yeah, and taking down Hat, who's been so consistently the hero for Forsaken, the one who finds all of their kills, seemingly. Siege Force backed, has the wall around him, tries to get opened up, and Teddy there for support. The pressure just continues to mount on the side of Forsaken. Inside a break room, outside top east, surrounding these upstairs defenders, and a fight coming through. Volsper looking to engage, not finding a thing as of yet. The reposition could guard against the player pushing him through CC. Could manage to pick him up. Teddy finds one elsewhere. Pre-fire through the wall. Kento firing a couple of shots forward, and Volsper thinks better of sticking around. Taking a bit of damage, opting to give as the wall, the little bit of protection that he had, starts to explode.
Man, this final 56 seconds left, and right now the Spaceshoobs in one of the best positions they've been in a 4v3. They've got a little bit of an advantage. They've taken off 2 of the big operators here who have been a thorn in their side, both Hat and Kool-Aid down. 40 seconds ticking down. This all they've got to do is hold this team off, prevent the plant, put them in a dangerous scenario where they start to make bad choices. They haven't had that opportunity most of this game. And X Siege comes up with a huge one.
I'm getting low and bodies dropping. Finally, something favoring Spaceshoobs. Kento and Terminator will try and bring this back. The time is so low, 20 seconds, and Teddy's there to answer. Puts the bullet into the head of Kento, leaving just Terminator down below. No case, no space. Last alive, and Just gonna tuck in a corner, a little baiting. Who knows? Maybe he'll catch one on that rotate. But finally, Spaceshoobs, after so many losses in a row, not picking up a single thing since round 3, they will get a second round on the board. It's not over yet, Whiskey.
Yes! The Spaceshoobs pulled it off, man. We're going to get a little bit more Siege today. It's not done yet. If you're a Forsaken fan, though, you're looking for this team to shut it down. We are on match point, series point, and semi-final upper bracket point right now for Forsaken. Still, we said it 1 round away. The Shoobs on their way to claw it back, looking for the near reverse sweep at this point to try and keep their playoff hopes alive. Man, got to be perfect for 5. They pulled off 1, 4 more to go.
Teddy waking up a bit, managing to pick up a couple frags on the Frost. He's the thing that I feel like has been missing for Spaceshoobs, the biggest part. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Obviously, Exige been a bit asleep, and Volsper as well. But Teddy and Volsper in particular, those two are consistent fraggers on the side of the Spaceshoobs. And this game, man, they've just not been awake. This border has been hurting them. We can see them get into this a little bit more, start to bring things back. They're awake. They're able to find their frags, be those leaders that we know they can be. Maybe it's not quite as over as we think.
Oh, it's not over until it's over, and the Spaceshoobs fan in the chat know that. I love the way that Exige put those Goyo canisters up on top of the shelf right near the default plant spot. They're expecting that Forsaken rush. It worked well previously. They've got a 4-round advantage. They can afford Forsaken to take some risks at this point. They don't need to play conservative. They can go out swinging right now, and even if they lose one, it's not a big loss for them because they've got plenty of opportunities. So stacking up the utility on that east side, I think works seriously in their favor. And the big question is whether or not Forsaken makes a little bit of a rotate, goes for the west side, as opposed to try and throw off the Shoobs. We're 30 seconds into this round, all stacked 10 apiece.
Couple of nades as the potential answer for those Goyo canisters, but nothing else. Notably, no Twitch, no Zero. Nothing laser-based that you could use to remove those canisters on the shelf. Hat down below. This is a scary position for anyone inside a break room. That being the Fenrir of Toaster. You can see him taken down if that floor starts to explode around him, but Terminator will be the first one dropped, and here comes the peak. Here comes the fight. Nothing in count. Engagement comes through, and Toaster will simply opt to give up the space, knowing that that advantage has been secured. Here comes a run out.
Oh no!
The rotating Gasher has a chance to spin around. Exige, heartbreaking. He's been so slow at getting into this one, and Volsper goes down elsewhere. Kento taking away the space, the advantage flipping, but Toaster's there to answer. Great shot out of him through the wall, clipping a headshot. Not over yet.
We got the final minute 30 in this round, potentially the last round of this series of the semifinal game. The Spaceshoobs got to step it up right now. They've got all 3 full health at this point, holding on and using some of this defensive utility to slow down Forsaken. But you still have got Hat, Kool-Aid, and Gasher left alive, trying to fight their way through this. Man, Exige and Volsper both sitting at that 1 kill, uncharacteristic for them. We saw that Volsper ace come out against M80 today, just couldn't get anything going. The final minute ticking down, my friend. Is this going to be the last round? Are we going to see the Spaceshoobs pick up another defensive win?
Not done yet. Tapping away, trying to remove any info, residual info on that bulletproof camera. Goes to the reposition over towards top metal. He dropped down below a little moment ago, so possible that his position is unknown. But Gasher seems like he wants to attempt to work his way in through office, and with that case, this is where the primary part of that attack will come from. A nade being dropped at the feet of Scoob, taking damage and taking down.
Wow!
Position is forced. Kool-Aid winning that fight, and suddenly
no way!
Body's dropping, and Teddy's the last alive. We need to see him go huge. We know he can, but it might be too much to ask, and it will. Hat will be the one to answer it, taking him down and taking down Shoobs. We will see this Forsaken team continue in the upper bracket, playing on. Shoob aren't out yet, but that's a knock for them as they move down to the lower bracket.
Oh, you said it. Down but not out, but 7-2 victory there for Forsaken. They put up a hell of a game, a hell of a match to take down the Spaceshoobs, who had such an energetic, such a fantastic win versus JJ Co yesterday. unfortunately lose there in the semifinal game, but big GG's to Forsaken. They move on, upper bracket finals bound, and now waiting on the answer from that M80 Revelations game going on. We are going to switch over and bring you that game as we get set up for our 4 p.m. game, which is the lower bracket, the start of the lower bracket run for all of those teams. But I got to say hi, Bear. Again, thank you so much for stepping in, filling in for Whiskey Glitter on what was extremely short notice on Easter from a mobile setup, my friend. Man, you are a legend for being there and helping us out.
Hoping I did it justice. I'm just happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you folks for tuning in, and enjoy the next couple of games throughout the day today. I'm gonna take off, but yeah, AO.
Let's go.
What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. We are back for match number 2, and Whiskey.
Yo.
Oh my lord, a heartbreaker if you're an M80 fan, and of course going into the other direction if you're.
What a game!
That entire series was just full of drama, full of incredible plays. I mean, the 4Ks that come out, the smack talk that was going back and forth. I mean, it just had it all.
A little shit talking back and forth, making it to Twitter as well. Damn, what a game, my friend. M80X, though, that is, I wouldn't say heartbreaking at this point, because we've been saying it all weekend. These weren't the win or go home games. This is a double elimination bracket, so the opportunity to fight it out in the lower is their opportunity next weekend. But man, to lose that spot in the uppers, it is going to be Forsaken versus Revelations in that upper bracket final. But it's double elimination, my friend. We've got to find out who is in the lower, which is where we're going to start. I'm going to show the upper bracket real quick. The games today: Revelations versus M80. That's what we just saw finish in a literal double overtime map 3 banger, with Revelations barely taking it. That was wild, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, watched earlier with the High Bear and Whiskey Runcast.
Yeah.
Forsaken versus Spaceshoobs. Also a great game, but didn't go the way of Spaceshoobs, right? It has just been a crazy day for Siege.
Upsets of the fan favorites. We said M80X and Spaceshoobs, probably the two biggest fan bases out there, fighting for dominance, and both of them fighting now in the lower bracket. So on the main stream, on the R6 stream, you're going to see Flow State versus the Unks. And today, 4 p.m., our game, Core, taking on JJ and Co. This is another rematch grudge match, and this time it is a win or go home scenario.
Wow, man. So everything on the line for these next two games. Core versus JJ and Co. I mean, these are two quintessential teams here in T2. It doesn't matter what tournament you're watching, doesn't matter if it's the weekly series from Skyline all the way up to the Crucible to Xenon Gaming. If there is a tournament, these two teams are in it, and they're in the finals regularly. On the side of Core, right, it's Candle, Moses, Brios, Exer, and Inrio. And this Core team has been together for so long and so many iterations, especially seen on the Siege double shot. And then on the other side, Whiskey, I mean, this is a team that we've been following for a little bit now, right? JJ, Twist, Rival, Emilio, and Snake. That has also just been like, I mean, we call them always the bridesmaids, never the brides, because they're always in the finals and just not able to quite close it out.
100%, my friend. They have been there, done that. But between these two, it's a best of 3. The map pool, my friend. Bank, Chalet, Nighthaven. And I got to say, to me, this is a map pool that absolutely favors JJ and Co. And if you're a Core fan joining us, man, that's a tough statement to make. But when we take a look at this, we saw Bank in the JJ and Co. Swiss stage, round 1, JJ won at 8-6. It went all the way to OT to get there. On Chalet, we saw JJ and Co. pick up Chalet 7-1 versus the Spaceshoobs, the map that they were absolutely known for. They are that good. And then Nighthaven Labs, if required. We saw JJ and Co. go 7-1 versus M80X on Nighthaven to win it. To me, this is a map pool that favors them, but round 1, map 1, my friend, is getting started now.
Let's go, and it's time to send it. Bank, man, I love Bank, right? And it has kind of become this slow build up to liking and loving this map. For a long time, I just didn't understand how Bank worked. It's so spread out. There's so much variety that can be brought to the strats, both attacking and defending. And really, if you were watching the Jinxie stream earlier with Fett and them talking, the difference between it being an attacker or defensive side map really comes down to which defenders you're banning, and it was interesting to hear Fett talk about that. If a zombie is left up as a viable candidate, Bank is defender sided. If she is taken down, it is attacker sided.
Wow, what a wild stat. So here it is. This is the big one. Is a zombie going to be banned? We got Core starting off on attack here, so we know which way they want to lead. But man, that is you said, a wild stat. Core, JJ and Co. Now this absolutely is a win or go home scenario. We are in now the lower bracket. No double elimination. Each of these teams has already lost their first game. Their second will send them home.
Oh my lord. So go big or take that proverbial bus ride home. Dokkaebi and Monty going to be the first of the attackers taken off the board. Obviously, the shield goes and is gone. Dokkaebi essential for getting that roam game sussed out. K to follow it up is the first defensive ban, which means there will be a dedication to getting those hatches open. And when you're down in that basement area, definitely is the strat, right? Util dump and then try to either plant off the chassis or plant off that single wall coming in from server area. It is definitely the play, and this time opting for Valkyrie to get it off the board. Valkyrie's great. It's that intel. It creates a bunch of those opportunities. There's a ton of soft breach, but Azami, she's going to be left on the board, Whiskey.
Wow, all right. Well, that says it, right? When she's on the board, defensive-sided map.
Yeah, that's the case. At least per Fett, and that guy's got ball knowledge, man.
Yes, he does. That's going to put Core a little bit in the backseat to start this thing off. We said this map pool seemed to favor this team, but as it comes down to it, Core's got to win out here on attack, or JJ and Co. going to come up big. This is the lower bracket round 1 battle between these two teams. We're just getting started. If you just joined us, we're watching on the mainstream, watching here on the Siege Double Shot, M80X losing. They're not out, though. They are going to be fighting in the lower bracket games next weekend, next Saturday. We're going to continue to watch that team play through Challenger Series.
Yeah, that's the good thing. If you're an M80X fan, as predicted on many streams, they will make a run through the lower bracket and probably see those guys again towards the end of it, if the viewers have their ways. Got to get through this one first, and whoever wins this one. Core taking on JJ. So on the side of the defense, kind of seeing that same pattern arising, that first floor meta. Some teams, and quite a few of them now, Whiskey, including M80X and Revelations, starting their primary site on that open area with an extension up top. And part of that theory is, part of that thought process is that you're going to be defending that second floor regardless. Why not make it to where you have to take that space before you can get in and start to go for your plan? Quick execution goes. Snake goes down, and Candle is going to be down for the count.
No
as well.
way!
And Brio's down by a C4, which puts the man advantage heavily in favor of JJ and Co. as they now claim it by 1.
Damn, that was a huge exchange there. We saw this attacking team make their way in top square, walk into the upstairs CEO site, and then get dominated first from the janitor and then from the C4 down below. Well played there on this JJ and Co. defensive side. It's come down to it the last minute and 30 seconds here in round 1. We're in a best of 3 between these two in the lower bracket win or go home game here on the Siege Double Shot.
That's right, and Candle does get picked up, but is unfortunately taken down, so that body balance will stay into the hands of the defense here. It's the last minute and 15. It's going to start winding down. So taking a little extra time there, Whiskey. Get some drones in. Make sure that you fully have that second floor presence before you start making it in, because you don't want to trade any more of those bodies. You're already down 1. And for the defense, they've already made that rotation back down everybody on the first floor.
All right, Inrio takes down Twist. That's a huge kill. There's last 50 seconds left. It's a 3v3, and there's a tons of utility left on this attacking side. They still have got 3 Yin Candelas. Moses with 2 more of those Selma charges and breach charges. They're working on this vertical, but they've got to get this execute off, put some pressure direct on this JJ and Co team. Everybody on the first floor right now, ready for it.
That's right. And so probably what you're going to see is Inrio make this play to try to force these defenders back so they can get the hatch drop and then start to go for the plant here. And as we get down to it, Smoke Canister is going to start to delay that hatch drop. They've got plenty in hand, so now all of them are out completely simultaneously. And there's the JJ going in to take the Wolf down. Is going to find attack rival on one. Moses answers back on Emilio, but it's a 2v1, so the defense has one out the hatch drop. Now with 7 seconds, takes a quick swing in, is almost going to find one, but Rival's able to smoke him off the board.
Azami on the board. Azami in play in a first floor site is a JJ & Co. defensive win for round 1. Man, some of these stats coming up big, but I gotta say real quick, welcome back Whiskey Glitter. I know you had to miss out on that first series, joined by High Bear for that semifinal cast. Glad you're with us though for map and match 2.
Oh, yeah, had to be here for it. And, you know, it was tough sitting in the chat because I am a Shoobs fan. I like both sides. It was very fun, but I was a Shoobs fan. It's tough to see him go down. Happy to be here for this last best of 3. And you said it, stats kind of living up to the hype, right? Azami left on, Azami played, defensive win.
So here's the question. How's it going to play out in the basement? We see that first floor site successful. And really, in one of the previous matches we cast, we saw that first floor site, and it seemed like it kind of threw the attackers for a bit of a loop, like not expecting that to be the main site that they played to start off with. This one, it didn't seem like Core was thrown off. They just lost that battle upstairs with the Blackbeard, and that was really, I think, the turning point for that team. They were in a bit of a fight to the end at that point, and just struggling to get anything going after losing 2 upstairs in a man count quickly there. So now as we head down to the basement, the combination of this Fenrir and Emilio bringing out the Aruni, I love the way that we were seeing those go down on top of those hatches. It's just going to cause this attacking team to burn a bunch of important utility for them in order to make that plant go down in the basement. It's a good setup.
Yeah, it's kind of a good counter when you don't have the Cade to be able to really just put some pressure on it. They do, however, bring the tuber out, so not only will they have to burn some utility when opening up those hatches, but it can be incredibly slowed down with those canisters as well. So really what they're focused on here, right? JJ's bringing out that area denial of the smoke. We've got the long-range devastation of the DMR in the hands of Emilio, and then, of course, the site redirector themselves, Azame. They can just really build up this static warfare, this trench mindset to slow down and stop the attackers from even getting into site to get the plant down in the first place.
As they work this, I mean, we're already down to this first minute and 15, minute 10 down, and all 10 left alive in the lobby, taking a little bit more of a slow approach. I think that's part of what we're seeing, this difficulty in clearing out all the defensive utility. You see this combination of Tuberau gadgets, Aruni gates, and reinforcements on those hatches. This is, for a minute and a half into the round, still working the hatches is definitely taking a little bit too long to get it kicked off.
Maybe, but look at this. Like a snake poised, Brios was in the garage and now starts to get... No!
What?
Completely sought out. Emilio with the 6th sense turns around, pops a couple of toe shots, and finds an easy kill. Does get traded back as the main advantage does find ourselves equalized, and then up top, Inrio able to take down JJ, which is going to put the main advantage into the hands of Cores. Now they find themselves up by 1. Starting to get ready towards that execute, but there's no diffuser in hand, so the Yin Candelas start going out. It's a pre-fire as they drop down. Inrio's able to take Twist off the board. Now into a 3v1. Rival the last alive to try to take these down, and it's a low health for both Ying and Deimos, but not going to matter. He gets sought out and done in.
Couple big picks there from the core team coming out, shutting down, leaving the Azami alone on an island in a 1v3 scenario. That garage battle, though, really the change in momentum in that round. And I talked about it in the setup. Bank, Swiss round 1, a battle between these two teams. It went all the way 8-6 is a JJ & Co. victory. We come back to bank. Both of these teams lost their upper bracket games, their quarterfinals, coming in equal footing once again. Man, I'm expecting a back and forth to the OT for them again.
Attackers need to locate and
Yeah,
defuse bomb.
that would make sense here. I would agree with you. So a little bit of a switch up here from JJ & Co., right? They're bringing some of the same operators. There's kind of an understanding when you're coming down into basement and bank that Goyos are going to be there and that you've got to bring something to answer back, whether that's your Twitch, whether that's those Rotero drones brought to you by the Flores, something that's able to get those stopped so that you're not in the last 20 seconds having to wait out a 30-second fire. So they bring the Goyo. They've got the slowdown capabilities of the Fenrir. I think the fun part, the good part here for me is bringing out the Pulse. I've really been a big Pulse fan, especially lately, with Valks getting banned out so often, Mozzie only having kind of the P shooter in the P10. Pulse is a great change-up to be able to provide that intel while still being able to remain in the relative safety of behind those hardened walls or barricades or something that isn't necessarily going to get you shot out or killed. So providing that intel without very much risk involved, and then a C4 to stop that post plan as well. He's really kind of the consummate defender.
Man, it's a great point here. The consummate defender. Is he going to be the guy that leads JJ & Co. into a victory? Watching this one play out right now, it's a good combination of operators. You said it. On the Core side, man, they're going to lean into this Blackbeard again and the combination of the Deimos. Highbear and I talked about it a lot during the cast between the two teams earlier today. Deimos banned on both of the maps. So good on the maps where you get the ability to play the vertical. Forsaken was extremely good on the vertical, and Spaceshoobs didn't want to let them have that advantage. He's here. He's ready. Candle already 3-1 playing that op.
That's right, and Candle is going to take a bunch of damage
Damn.
right there after finding another kill. Take him up to 4-1 as he's just showing off here on pace for the ace as he's just done some absolute crazy damage. And they had a great pinch on Snakes, right? He was holed up inside the elevator. He made the drop down. They had the cross set up and in place, and they take him down as well. So 5-2 now. So they're looking to find themselves a flawless round.
Yeah, this is another huge one for Core. They played the basement again at JJ & Co., but are not finding success right now. This top-down clear from Core working out very well in their favor. It's not sort of the typical take where you're walking in dirt, taking server, going for the plant in the corner. They sort of, this top-down clear working out very well for them. And man, taking some shots at Hibana. She's going to open up those hatches and give them a ton of vertical control.
Yeah, and here's what we're looking at here for this last 57. It's overwhelm, right? It's going to be a util dump. They've got 4 Candelas still in hand. The Blackbeard is still up and alive. Moses with both the fire bolts and the smokes. I mean, it is going to be util drop and dump to try to stop this hatch play. Well, a couple of shots into the garage is going to force him back a little bit farther and stop the potential attack going towards that
Oh, wow.
Defuse. Now look at that. Push
Ninja defuse.
The Smokes is able to find one. JJ takes down
He
Candle.
missed.
Does kick us into a 4-2, but it's a post-plant scenario, Whiskey. Now they've got to retake from quite a bit of a distance. JJ to find a second one. Rival now to find it. And that's going to be some numbers equalized. The problem is they still have to deal with the top, right? They still have to deal with up above and the Blackbeard. Blackbeard just going to sit back and rest on his laurels and find himself a double for his trouble.
What a peek there, holding the tight angle between the chassis and the desk, blocked off by his shield. Blackbeard is the guy to take that fight, and man, Core picks up a double downstairs in the basement, 2 rounds in a row. JJ and Co. going to change up the strat and say, let's not push the basement any longer. Let's try a second floor defense because Core has got our number. Even though it looked like they had good utility setup upstairs on that first floor holding all the hatches, Core burned through that, worked the magic, gained control downstairs, and then the smoke toss at the end allowed the plant to go down It was so close, but man, just slightly misplaced, allowing Core to get the diffuser down.
Bomb located by
Yeah,
attackers.
it was a good defense, or I mean, it was a good attack strat, right? They isolated the key members very early. They took up a bunch of space, and then they util dumped for plant. I love it. Great idea by JJ and Co to switch it up here, right? You ran it twice, it didn't quite work out for you, so take it up to the second floor. And what do they do for that? They really lean into that static warfare, with Castle kind of being that expected person to play up top, cutting off some of those pivotal windows that you can be seen from the rappel from the main lobby area, and of course forcing some really fun funnel and rotate areas, and allows them to be extended while not putting them in a terrible amount of danger. The fun part, Whiskey, I like it. Maestro's on the board for a second floor. Let's go.
Yeah, that feels like it's a little bit of a, I wouldn't say strange at this point, but certainly not the standard pick. We've seen him play downstairs in the basement a little bit more often, but in Rio running the Twitch, looking to try and clear out some of this utility, and man, just completely unaware there. Looked like Twist was going to be able to see the drone, but missed it. He's looking up top, trying to find, where is it stashed? There it is. He finds it, takes the Twitch off the board, so that's an important piece now. Look at this. Man, Brios has made his way in. They've got a pair of shields, and they're just gaining some top floor control.
Yeah, no kidding. Just punch it, push it in, punch him in the face, and just like that, between Inrio and Brios, it's now into a 5v2. Just a steamroll, as now they find Warden. He does got his special goggles on, so he's not going to be blinded. They're going to take the kill, but it is going to be off the back of a trade, so with 2 minutes left, a smoked out session, looking towards some toes, and he's got to work on that marble staircase with the pressure just proving to be too much. He gets dealt with, and that's going to be another attacking win. This one looking quite dominant.
Boy, the game that we saw at the end yesterday that went all the way to 3 maps, JJ and Co versus Spaceshoobs, to send them into the upper bracket game. Man, that was a heartbreaking loss for this team. JJ and Co has been fighting for so long. I know you said it, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Kind of a scenario for this team, but really both of these teams have been in that scenario, fighting for their spot. They have made it through 400 teams, started off in this Challenger Series Open qualifiers. These guys made it through at the beginning. They made it into this Challenger Series, and now fighting it out in the win or go home scenario. It's a question to me of almost like, who's got that mental fortitude? Is the JJ and Co spirit broken at this point, or are they going to be able to bounce back in a big way?
I'm thinking bounce back, right? And thinking bounce back, I'm reminded of the video of JJ twerking on stream. We need that confidence to come back. That sort of ability to just be in the moment, spot the gaps, take advantage of those situations, and then celebrate the victories. Make this a game. Right, we talked about the stats early on, saying that it becomes a defender-sided map if Azami is left on the board. Core just not having any of that.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
It feels like an early timeout, but I think this is let's just collect our thoughts, get ready, hold on. What can we do to change this up? They've seen how Core now has approached all 3 of the sites. They've had a lot of success on all of them. JJ and Co picked up that first win here on the open area office, although it did come down to a battle right at the end. And man, the Observer right there bringing us a Fenrir, that F-Not underneath the desk. What a new piece of tech.
Yeah, well, and it seems essential, right? And almost a duh moment, because that's part of the drop. That's part of the appeal of going into the open area, is claiming that space, the verticality above stock, pushing in through that printer window, and then making the hold on the main and on the closet while you go for a plant from the hatch drops. So that Fenrir, oh man, could be devastating if it's not sought out early. And they don't have a way to deal with it underneath the desk outside of the traditional shoot it, which means you're going to have to look down.
Man, that is a wild play. I freaking love that. And look at this, though. The shields just making their way in. Again, Moses, Brios, running them and just...
Hello?
Right up until Twist showed up and annihilated the Core team.
Yeah, just takes him out. A three-piece as he finds himself bringing this round back into contention. It was slowly falling. Well, not slowly. It was quickly dissipating, and then it just fell off immediately. And the immovable rock of Twist is able to take him down. Now puts us into a 2-2 with so much time left on the board and a Blackbeard in sight. Now, here's the problem. He doesn't have diffuser in hand, so wherever that got dropped is going to have to be that priority.
Oh, what a
numero
tragic
uno.
miss.
Flashes ring out as it kind of does the self-flash as well. Immediately is able to find Brios off the board. And look at that Twist, good for a 4-piece. Break out the barbecue sauce, baby, as he stopped that quick plant.
And that self-flash right there, I wouldn't say that was the turning point for the round. Twist was the turning point for that round, and a huge triple early on to completely set back Core. I was about to say, the shields from Core were coming out, gaining space, pushing in, gaining control of that bomb site, and then they got shut down on the way in. The self-flash merely just finished off Core getting cooked.
That's right.
Attackers
Flash
need to
cook.
locate and defuse bomb.
Down to the basement, Whiskey. We're going to try to run it back, and this time they're going to go with one of our favorite combo moves. As the Whiskey duo, we've been known to run a little bit of Goyo and Maestro combo. Combo that move with the smoke and the Azami and the Tubarão to slow its stuff down. Man, this feels like a really good defense outside of having some sort of up top engagement, right? Yeah, I mean, yes, Azami can go up there and hold it. Tubarão is up top currently, I think, getting hatches, but there's not really an operator that's like, hey, you have to push this person out before you start claiming that vertical space. Other than that, I really like what this defense is bringing to the table.
The only thing I'm worried about here for this JJ & Co defense is they have got to hold on to some of these upper floors a little bit longer, waste some time. When they've been bunkered back down early, we've seen Core just annihilate that defense. They have come in very strong, top-down clear, fish in a barrel scenario to shut down JJ & Co. So I would love to see them stay up top a little bit longer. And the way they've got this defense set up right now, it is just Twist and Rival holding on to open area office. No presence upstairs on the 2F. And if Core identifies that early, they could burn through that time, get down to this first floor, take these engagements, and then spend a ton of time direct engagement in the basement.
That's right. I think you're exactly on it. And so they do maintain that first floor. You can see they're starting to get in towards that second, and it's Tubarão. I was questioning what he was doing up top, but you know what? It's the play. It's the tech. He's holding on to the hatch. He's denying that vertical space, and he still has a C4 in the hand should he catch somebody slipping. And look at that. They're starting to open up. It's going to give him a little bit of an opportunity to put that pressure on. Makes his way back, and they're going to hold on just a little bit longer as the last canister goes out for Tubarão, which means that pressure from above starts going to become a real presence on the first floor.
All right, this first halfway through the round burned down. Seeing this team right now, everybody again from this defensive team downstairs holding this basement. No one upstairs to put any pressure. That means full vertical control here for Core, which they have worked very successfully in the past. You said it, Xer still holding on to 3 of those Yin Candelas, just waiting, and those Flores drones coming out, blowing up. You can see the screen shaking with the explosions going off, clearing out the defensive utility.
That's right. And well, speaking of explosions, they've got a couple on the other side as well. 4 impacts, 1 C4 still to be had, and 3 of those smoke canisters, and that's going to become where it's vital. Now we see the Sens gadget go out, and it's got that cool little feature now as it's been reworked, as you can turn it on and off. So get a couple in place, then flick it on right as you start to go for the plant, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to deal with. Start dealing with some of those Goyo canisters as well, which means I think that's just about all of them. So now it's the util drop, the util dump, and the hatch drop, and get the plant.
20-second meta, my friend. All 10 are left alive. This is about to be insane. The kill's about to go out like crazy. Is it going to be Core, or is it going to be JJ & Co with 10 seconds left?
Oh man, pushes right into the middle of the site. Rival's able to take down an Xer. As the plant is going down, Answer back onto Rival puts us into a 4-4, but
Wow!
before they can get the plant
There
down,
it
now
is.
2 seconds left. No time to get it done. Emilio and Twispo find some kills. Oh, but stopping the planter was huge. That was the win con.
Man, finally we see JJ and Co. pick up a basement win. After losing it twice back on round 2 and 3, they pull it off on round 6 and tie this thing up 3-3 game at the half. This is map 1 of a best of 3. We are in the lower bracket. This is a win or go home scenario for both of these teams. They must win to continue their Challenger Series journey, and the winner of this game will face stomping an M80X next Saturday. So a ton is on the line. They've got a tough battle today, but an even bigger one next week.
Yeah, not just facing M80, but it's facing an M80 that could go home if they lose. So a lot riding on these next couple of games. A bunch of impacts. It is a must-win or a move-out scenario. And now we saw this on here one time before that mirror window. Well, I don't remember what that exactly was for. Was that sort of like the breach thing that we watch makes it tougher to get the charges on there? That's got to be what it is, right?
Yeah, it makes it so that thermite cannot be used on that wall. They're gonna have to use an alternative hard breach, whether it's the Hibana or the Ace, because now you cannot use a thermite charge on there. There's no way for thermite to get the exothermic on with the mirror in the way. So it's an interesting strat. It's a clever strat. It allows the attacking team and the defense both to be able to see through that, but no real ability to trick, no electricity on it. So it's an interesting play though, and right now Core trying something a bit inventive on their hold in the basement.
Yeah, man, sending some folks all the way up top as well, right? You got some second floor conference room presence and Candle. The Goyo with the Vector in hands, which I like, being mobile and a Vector with an ACOG on it to be used. And then, of course, Mira also holding on to that first floor area. So a lot of stall game. One of the things that you said you wanted to see out of JJ and Co. was that they stayed up there longer. Well, they're kind of a little bit of a focus on that here, at least on the core side. Kendall taking a little bit of damage, but he's able to rotate down to the first floor and help a little bit of a combo move here with Mira as Kendall Brios look to hold on to this first floor presence.
It definitely feels like right now we're seeing this play out a little bit slower. JJ and Cole, from the attacking perspective, they're working this slow. You still have got several outside, but again, full top-down clear. You had 3 guys still upstairs on the second floor, and it feels like right now taking a little bit too long. This defense is already rotated completely back down to the bomb site. Plenty of time here for them to work this, but they're still focusing on clearing down. Yeah, you still have got, look, Snake's still up on the 2F. Man, this is taking too long, but the Twitch drone, what a play. Annihilating that defensive utility.
Yeah, got a bunch of it out of the way. And one of the things was that the defense kind of backed off a little quick, right? They were all secured back down into site, bunkered up at 1:44. So they did waste a minute of time, but could have probably held on if they held it to that minute mark, and even if they lost a life, starting to get through some of that utility, specifically the Miras, the Goyos, the Smokes, the Fenrirs, would have proved to be almost incredibly difficult. So they get it open. They're going to go for that server potential plant here, getting the rest of the Goyos dealt with. And I think they've got most of them, as they do have Twitch in their hands. So able to see where a lot of those are at, making the rotate up top. They got a little bit of that vertical presence, and here it goes, util drop. We've got the Warden with his glasses on. The Bees start to come out, trying to suss out the location in garage. Moses on the Fender holding on to the long angle so that they're not able to get that back plant successful. Start moving in.
Though the plant is going down.
Instead. Yeah, they pushed right in off of the chassis area, and it's forced to get off it as Twist goes down, so the main advantage is into the hands of the defense here. C4 rings out as the shots from above are able to find before the C4 gets detonated. Mirror goes down, post-plant scenarios.
No way!
Now we're into a 3-3. Enrio able to find one onto Snakes from the long angle, and instead of waiting for it, this is where I think the defense is pulling off some good moves here. They are rotating pushing all the way up. They're going to go put some vertical pressure on immediately so that they have some time to get in and start to go for that plant. 26 seconds left. You got to have 7 on the clock to get it started, or it's all for naught. Fenrir going to get taken down by Emilio, and now from above the hatch, looking for it, gets a little bit close. Going to be Rival to take Candle off the board. He's going for the Ninja Defuse, and they're going to be able to spot him out and smoke him.
Damn, that was a hell of a round there from JJ and Co. I thought for sure we were going to see that fizzle out as that plant was going down, fighting against the smokes. They did bring the ace. JJ playing the ace, managed to get that wall open with a mirror on it, gain enough space for him to be able to walk in. But the difference maker there, we watched Smoke use up those smokes and then toss the C4, but he gets killed from the vertical angle being held by JJ and Co. That was the turning point there. After that plant goes down, then we watch them go upstairs all the way to the 2F to try and identify where one of these defenders was holding the position, but all sort of falls apart from there, and JJ and Co. on attack picks up 1, and which feels kind of crazy considering the zombie stat that we talked about earlier. This has been, it felt like at least a little bit attacker-sided. We were 3-3 half, and JJ and Co. picks up their first attacking round.
Yeah, 3-3 half is a definitely attacker-sided, right? We see a defender-sided map. It sits 4-2 on the very minimum standard. So yeah, the stats are out the window, and that's what I love, right? You're the stats guy. You're the. I just happen to know that one by listening to Fed. I love when the norm is thrown. I love an attacker-sided bank. And here's what we're going to see. Some fun action outside of these attackers for what they're bringing now. JJ onto the Amaru. You've got the Sens in place. This has the makings.
Let's go.
Big plan.
Oh, absolutely. This is happening, and you said it. I'm here for it. It's one of the things that Jesse J talks about. These attacker-sided stats a lot of times come down to how does the individual team play in aggregate. For sure, that's the case. But when it comes down to it, who is it going to be matters what these teams pull off in the server on game day. And right now, JJ and Co. putting on a little bit of a show, and you said it, getting ready for the quick execute. They haven't actually pulled it off yet. It's going to, though. Taking a look, JJ had that Amaru ready. There's the jump in.
Yep, and so the Maru's ready, poised, primed. They got the Sens gadgets going in as well, waiting for that green light, waiting for the button, waiting for the call to get in and start sending it. It's just all on pause mode here as we kind of wait with bated breath. They've dealt with the Mira, and look at that. Instead, they're just going to push right in through here.
No way,
and
this
is
is
not an Amaru in through the window. It was in through the top square area, and they swing in, and they're going to get that plant going back down again. Another shot goes. Ash is going to be able to stick at those. The Mira not able to pull it off. They get
a shot!
They do pull it off. They stop the quick plant. Now puts us into a 4-3 with the man advantage into the hands of Core as they look to tie it up as they slowed them down.
Oh, no, that was a miss on the Sens as well, allowing this defending team, I think they'd be able to get an angle on where the planter is at. I can't believe they missed that twice. Man, Core just hitting all of the shots at the right time, shutting down what was, to me, a beautiful execute from JJ and Co. The top square open, they had the wall open, and then using the Sens to block that off. Man, I absolutely loved that execute.
That's right, Emilio good for 2 as they make the swing in. Now starting to take a look inside the side as the main breach is open on both sides. Does put us into a 2-2, and so starting to open up a little bit more of a long angles, give himself a bit of a rotate so he can get active towards the end of it. Poised outside of Janitor. Let's see if they can catch one rotating back to site. The drones are in place, the intel's had, but the banana player spotted out, so now the potential to have the pinch move on, and you know that there's going to be a cross setup, so you know about where that second player is going to be sitting at. Camera's taken down off the board. Does put us with 23 seconds left to hold on to the banana peak and to go potentially for the plant here now. He does make his way up to the hard wall, looking for in through the rotate. Janitor's gonna find one, rewarded twice. Okay, didn't get the second one, but the homie was there.
Yeah, that's right, Xer there ready to finish it off, but man, it looked like it got close. Geez, what a battle back and forth between these two teams. 4-4 as Core picks up one. That was a great JJ and Co. execute. They even managed to get the plant down after being completely stymied by Core. But they managed to make that one work. And I got to say, the other thing I loved, you see that piece of tech they had on the bulletproof cam inside of the reinforced wall?
Oh yeah, yeah. Not only have I seen that, but I've seen in addition to it where they throw it a Rooney gate up onto that as well. So you can't just shoot it; you have to deal with the Rooney gate. Then you have to go deal with it by punching it. You can't shoot it; it's wonderful.
Man, I love getting to watch the new tech come out in competitive play. These two teams, if you're just joining us, they are fighting for their spot in a pro league. This is the Challenger Series, the T2 competition to decide who gets that final NAL Pro League Stage 1 spot and the ability to fight it out for the major in November. Which one of these two teams are they going to make it further in the lower bracket? It's a win or go home game between Core and JJ and Co. And we're tied up 4 apiece. Boy, this is feeling like their Swiss round 1 game where that one went all the way to OT. It was an 8-6 victory, though, for JJ and Co.
Yeah, they've got the clutch power. They've got the gut check in place. And they proved it by being at the end of several huge tournaments, just never quite claiming the crown for it. So looking to get one here, the biggest crown you could say, as it's a chance to get yourself into the pro league and prove that you belong at those major spots. 4-4 on the tie-up, Whiskey. You see still some kind of hints at some quick action. Blitz back onto the board in the hands of JJ. You've got that vertical. Snakes are meta. And then, of course, that util dump that can come from the Capitao. Screams take the vertical and drop the hatch. Although, they have been playing a couple of those off strats. We have seen them take a few different takes instead of what the standard suggests.
You know what's going to be crazy, too, is that we've talked about this we talked a lot about it during the M80 games, the Crucible. This was the Winners Series T3, T2 tournament taking place, which M80 and JJ and Co. both played. That was a 3-1 map victory for M80X. If JJ and Co. wins, it will be a rematch of the grand finals from Crucible. But they've got to make it there first. Right now, Core putting in a little bit of the work in a 5v3 scenario here on round 9.
Yeah, a crazy play that just rang out, right? C4 gets launched over the head of the shield player, takes out the one behind that is the true menace in the shield play. Blitz pushes in and then just gets dealt with. And Inrio to find a double. Does get answered back onto Candle, as gets a little bit closer to equalizing the numbers, but the round is more than halfway done, and the defenders have all gotten back down to sight now. And the late round barricade's going to make things just a little bit more difficult.
All right, 4-4 battle here between these as that last minute ticks down in a 4v3 scenario. Right now, it's looking like Core has got what they need. This first floor site has really been the most successful defensive site we've seen so far. Both the second floor and the basement been traded back and forth, but the first floor was won both times that it was played by the defense. So if you had to pick the most successful site, there's no way I would have said open office on bank as that one.
Hey, you know, it's the spot. They're ahead of the meta. You see that first floor taken everywhere. And it's the same thing here. You're seeing that Tuberau slow down the Selma charges. They finally start, or not the Selma charges, the Hibana pellets. They finally start to get some opening onto that main breach to put some pressure onto the Azami, who has just really locked themselves in on top of the counter area. Does put us a little bit of an engagement here as Emilio's looking to get active here inside of Tellers. A couple of quick shots of Moses and Brios able to take down Twisted Emilio now into a 3-1 as it gets traded back. Snakes finds one, but is taken off the board as his head just gets ripped off.
SMG 11 just frying today. Man, that weapon continues to be one of the more important in the meta for Rainbow Six Siege. Core goes up now on round 9, picks up that 5-4 victory, continuing the trend of open office being that site. Wild that is going to be the place we're going to continue to see just battles done. We're going to go to the basement. We saw this as an attacker win back on round 7. Core looking to change it up, flip the script, and pull off a full round rotate win on defense.
Yeah, and what are they doing to do it? I'm almost certain that we're going to see that extension up to the first floor, up to that open area as the castle's on board, right? You bring out the double area denial and the Goyle and the smoke to slow down any sort of quick attempt in through servers, and deny that late round plant. Then you send the castle and potentially even the Mira up to the first floor to really solidify your hold on the verticality, which has, of course, and should be the focus of getting down into this basement area. So a castle being brought out here could be a huge play for Core, especially because they've been doing really great at stalling out the time here.
Man, the time stall, that's been a bit of a, sort of we've seen a alternative approach from both of these teams in the way that they've handled it. Do you bunker back down? Do you waste a lot of time in some of the upper floors? The bigger roam game? I like this from Core bringing out the castle, and I know you said it, one of your favorite ops. What does this JJ and Co team have to try and deal with it? No Ash, no Zofia. They're going to have to use, I think, JJ's, some of these ex-Kairos to be able to deal with that, but they've also got a lot of work to do on the hatches as well.
And already the Twitch getting in and just being an absolute sniper as they're able to open up that Mira and get one of the Goyos off the board and still keep the drone alive for some potential future action there. And you saw it, both mirrors being utilized down in the basement, so not helping facilitate that extension up top, even though that Vector is up there. Mira is up there helping support that castle play. Or the Goyo play, excuse me.
2 minutes left, 1 minute gone from this round already, all 10 left alive, all stacked up at this point, nobody gaining a serious advantage. You can see though JJ using some of those ex-Kairos already to open up, and the Twitch doing crazy work downstairs in the basement, clearing out that defensive utility. I think that was that all of the Goyo canisters popped? Now they're using these the can openers to open up the hatches upstairs on the 2F, but taking a lot of time. This is a minute 30, and they're working on the 2F to 1F hatches. Still feels like a long way to go.
Yeah, no kidding, especially when you lose Emilio, your Candela's gone and dusted. Twist is able to answer back onto Candle, so that's the main advantage equalized, but the time factor here is really going to start making a play, especially because they're still struggling to get some of these critical push points opened up and push these players off. Now, they did get everybody, all of the defense back down into the bunker, into the basement to be able to start holding on, but man, that time waste compared to what we saw in the first one, absolutely game changer.
It's that last 50 seconds left. It's stacked 4 apiece, and man, they're still working hatches. JJ and Co from the attack. It just feels like it's going to end up being a quick execute, but not on purpose, not by design. Just that it was taking a little bit too long. The Sen's gadgets go out, so they know that the drop is coming. Inmiro trying to hold this angle. The smoke coming out to prevent the plant, but there they drop. Still active though, using that new ability for the senses to turn on and off, and there it goes.
Yeah, look at that smoke, just being perfectly placed to stymie it, and that's going to be Habana taken down, main advantage back into the hands of the defense, and we just saw this on the other game, on the other screen in the M80 game, where it's the spoiler play in the corner, able to find one, able to find two, Moses good for 3 on the lurk underneath the hatch. What risk is, we just saw this play out in the M80 game, and it was good for a quad piece, and here, Moses finds a good one here. Sheesh. Yeah, Mike W. fan, you said it, Mr. B. Oh.
Wow.
I can't believe we just watched that happen 2 games in a row.
And not only that, but that is Core picking up 3 in a row, the complete round rotate on their bank defense. We were wondering whether or not this was going to be an attacker-sided bank. It was up until round 7, and then Core has absolutely turned it on, turned it up, and got themselves on match point here on map 1 of the lower bracket final. This is a win or go home scenario. They have to win in order to move on, or you are going home from Challenger Series. That is going to happen right here today. So, picking up that map 1, such an important first step, and this is Core's map pick. They need to win here, and they are 1 round away.
Man, that is so crazy. What a good play. We're going to have to start calling that under the hatch rat play, the Mike W. We see enough people start bringing that play out.
Okay, so defense, you said it, 1 away from taking map number 1, and what do? They focus on slowing you
10
down
seconds
some
to
more.
go.
Azami not going to be played this time as they switch it out for the Clash. Which,
5 seconds left.
Run, you
Attackers
can
have
attest, we
located the
have
bomb.
just seen an incredible amount of lately in the comp scene.
Attackers are
Clash
heading
has
out
just
to the
become
bomb.
one of those standards for stopping some of that shield play, being able to push in. The electronic gadget forces your shield around, and it's a full shield break, right? So feet and toes exposed when you come up against the Clash. I like the play, honestly, and I was not a Clash fan before this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that used to think very much the sort of cheese pick, the annoying pick that you need to deal with in ranked. But in the competitive play, you need to use all of your assets at your disposal to try and win here. You have to. And right now, in the shield meta, that includes Clash. And we have seen some teams, especially M80, do a fantastic job of running the Clash, being successful with it. Core right now using that strategy as well. We're still stacked 10 apiece. JJ and Co working all of this utility. There's finally, they get that deployable shield down at the top of the stairs into stock, but look at that, the C4!
Yeah, huge, and Clash playing in such that pivotal spot as well, right? You have a deployable shield here that stops that push in, stops the push in from square, but usually it's the Azami, right? And that's who we said got switched out for the Clash here. And it's serving the same purpose and doing it really, really well. So taking a couple of shots, they're getting, oh man, they're getting the
No
shield
way!
up, but just not enough. So that hold onto stock, that's gonna stay permanent for just a little bit longer. I mean, you're gonna have to dedicate some other resources to get in, and if you do, you got a shotgun ready and waiting to answer that call.
They're all stymied at the top of square. They don't have janitor clear. They don't have good angles in yet. No, not really playing on the rappel. You got 3 top square holding on, but man, this right now is feeling very much like a core round, and Candle is going to tip the scales a little bit even more in their favor in a 5v3 scenario.
That's right, Rival able to take Candle as he snuffs his flame, but still trying to deal with this pressure inside of Janitor. So Blackbeard going to take a look, or inside of Stock. So Blackbeard going to take a look inside of Janitor, but actually going to take him off the board. So now into a 3v2, they finally, at 46 seconds left in the round, have dealt with the Clash, but in it's too little, it's too late scenario. Core's going to find the win on map number 1.
And huge, my friend, 7-4 victory for Core. What a change-up versus their Swiss stage round 1 game, which was a 8-6 overtime victory for JJ and Co. Big GG's to this team to trying to change up that strat and come out on top on their map pick. We said it's 7-4 victory. Well played by the Core team. Now, here it is. We're getting ready. It is a win or go home scenario. We said it in the lower bracket game. This is the first round of the lower bracket. Map 2 coming up. And in this best of 3, my friend, man, Chalet. I love the fact that we're getting to see Bank and Chalet to start it off.
That's right, and should fate deem it necessary, a Nighthaven finish. You just can't write it any better than that, my friends. Okay, do or die for JJ and Co. when we come back. So sit back and relax, because up next, the second map. Ayo.
Let's go.
What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. We are back for map number 2 in this go big or go home scenario. Core taking on JJ and Co. And for JJ and Co., it's starting to get real.
That's right, my friend. Welcome back, everyone, to the NAL Challenger Series. This is it, my friend. We've been talking all weekend about how it was a double elimination bracket. The quarterfinals and semis were not win or go home scenarios. This one is. We are in the lower. It is time. Speaking of that bracket, I'm going to pull it up real quick. We're getting almost at game time. But to take a look at the bracket, my friend, the big games that happened today, Forsaken and Spaceshoobs. Forsaken wins that and moves on to the upper bracket final. And then just before this game, a devastating loss for M80X and Revelations as they lose and move down to the lower bracket to start their run. Well, we're down here, lower bracket game, my friend. Core and JJ and Co., the winner, set to play M80X next weekend.
Yeah, and you had some interesting pre-show talk about if JJ and Co. is able to pull off the win here, how we get a pretty strong rematch.
That's right. This will be a rematch of the Crucible Grand Final if JJ and Co. can pull off a win. They've got to beat Core, though, and right now, Core has already found success on map 1 of their map pick, 7-4 victory on Bank. Now, we are going to Chalet, and Chalet is a map that JJ and Co. is very good at. We watched them, and they beat the Spaceshoobs 7-1 on this map, which is one of... Honestly, the Spaceshoobs, it's one of their best maps. They are an undeniably great Chalet team. For JJ and Co. to beat them, I think, says a lot about this team. But it's time, my friend. Chalet here today. Core versus JJ and Co. Is this going to be the last map for JJ and Co., or are they going to pick up a win and send it to map 3?
That's right. Who's moving on and who's moving out? It's all going to be determined here on map number 2, Chalet. Whiskey, this is your favorite map, right? And it, for good reason. It's kind of completely made a switch up onto how this thing is played. It's all first floor, baby, and then you see that 2-floor extension up to the second, down into the basement, really just creating a ton of different opportunities to pick or be picked.
Yeah, this is certainly, you said it, I love this map. It is, it's in my top 5, top 3 of all time. I love the fact that full 3 floors, lots of different engagements, and a little bit of similarities like to Border, where High Bear said during that first round, you're never more than 1 room away from sight. Chalet has got a lot of that kind of feel. Plus, good vertical teams can thrive here on this map, and that's a tactical part of Siege I love. The shields going down, though, and the Roam Claire, Monty and Dokubi and Valkyrie. Here's the question, my friend. Is it going to be the Azami?
Well, you know, it could be. It could very well be. She's incredible for making that hold, but she's going to be allowed to play. Fenrir are going to get taken off the board, and you know what? Probably makes a little bit more sense. Some of those quick actions that you see on the side of the attack, where you're quick taking in up to library, or you're quick taking mez, or you're quick taking piano, or solarium. Those are all stymied when the Fenrir is on the board, especially because he can just put a gadget in all 4 of those places and effectively slow down or stop a push that's coming in. So Fenrir, yeah, Gonzo Garbanzo.
Core's going to break with a little bit of the tradition we were just talking about and pick up that second floor site as the first place we're going to go. They're going to forego the first and fight it out upstairs. They brought along that Cade, and you said it, Candle playing the Azami. She is not banned out. We're going to play that op. Make sure that she is a part of it. And then Exer bringing out Tubrow. Such an important part of a lot of these big holes. But in Rio right now, a little bit of the wild card, the Cade, and they are hiding right now, or attempting to hide him as part of this drone prep phase. Are they going to avoid it? Cause this JJ and Co attack to focus only on the Tubrow, change up what they bring from a breach denial perspective.
5 seconds
I think
left.
it might. And you know what? I love this new era of hide the op. Making the 6 pick just a little, or I guess it's not called the 6 pick anymore. Making that secondary option that's available for attackers just a little bit more moot. If you're able to hide one of those key defenders, that changes how the round is going to be played out. Cade can definitely be one of those players, especially if you're only bringing impact EMPs. And look at it, they only brought 2 of them. So if they get it wrong, well, I mean, you find yourself in a tough spot then, not being able to get that wall opened up.
Chalet does have some opportunities to try and take out this electricity from the floor below, but look at this. They're using it on this the wall typically opened up from the solarium here, holding on to that closet. That's one of the reinforced walls that's electrified. Going to make it very difficult for the solar players to gain any sort of control at this point now. Holding on to big window here in Rio. He's that guy. He's not going to be going for a trick. He's just going for a little bit of a direct take, and then C4's out. 1 goes down. Damage done.
And
wow. Wow.
Yeah, Rival able to take Inrio off the board as they really come up big on this 2-piece. Snakes is
Holy cow!
Takes out Moses as well, puts us into a 5v3 situation, and this is the problem with taking second floor as your primary site, as your place to go where you feel most comfortable. Is like, it is the great problem with Solarium, and they're able to find a couple of kills off it, and just like that, Blackbeard's made his way inside of sight and starting to make the play for the
That's the
plant.
plant going down.
Yeah, that's a 4v2 post-plant scenario with a shield on board, with the fires and smokes of the Capital, with the tracks of Gridlock to be out, and the stopping power of Ash. I mean, this is almost an impossible scenario to get back from because you still have to get outside to take on that presence as well. And that's going to be Snakes finding the triple kill and Rival to clean it up on a Brios, and the attack going to find themselves the first round off of, well, some questionable second floor play.
Yeah, it seemed like certainly a bit of a mistake from the core side, but obviously Snake coming out huge with the triple, holding on to that angle from the piano window. He managed to get 3 from that angle, this causing the defense to try and cross in front of that spot because they had big window held down. Those crosses set up were devastating here to the defense, and JJ & Co. on attack goes up 1. We said this is their map pick, and they are in a win or go home scenario. All of the pressure is on JJ & Co. right now. Core has picked up 1 map. In this best of 3, JJ & Co. must win Chalet.
Okay, well, that's a good way to start it out. Learning their lesson, though, Core's not going to make a repeat of going up to the second floor. Instead, they're going to hit a little bit of bar gaming action. Now, they're still going to play it in a little bit of a different way than you're normally used to seeing, right? You bring out the mirror. It plays in the closet. You put one up at the top mez, and then you hold on to vertical library control, and you hold on from the closet. Well, one of the things that's been fun is in this new iteration of bottom-up clearing, they open up that single wall, making that mirror inside of the closet move. So they have switched it and now put it inside of sight, which means it's going to be a little bit more dedication to holding on to that main lobby.
Yeah, main lobby and the vertical above it. When you're playing in the stock closet there, you're a little bit shielded from the vertical play. You can't quite get an angle even when you have that complete library control. So playing in sight makes you more vulnerable to the vertical attack. So in addition to lobby, they're going to have to do a great job holding on to the top end. Look at this. Blackbeard runs into sight, makes his push in. The C4 is going to go up, but not connect. He is backed up by another player holding on to the window. JJ getting a little crazy to start this thing off. Xer, man, this feels like a dangerous position. We'll see, because he's right in line with the hatch upstairs in the library closet as well.
Yeah, it's a tough position to find yourself playing off of, so we'll see if it works out for him. Blackbeard now clearing all of the second floor space as they attempt to go a little bit of side overplay here, take into that piano area, and then put the pressure on to the top of Mez. They've claimed up a bunch of space here, and only a little bit of damage done to the Blackbeard in retaliation, so really got a lot done in that first minute and 20.
All right, my friend, minute 20. You said it. We're counting down all the way through halfway into this round of 10 left alive. The only damage currently done to JJ as part of that main push in the trophy window. So they're opening windows upstairs, trying to gain a little bit of this library control. But right now, you still have got Candle holding on to Mez, Inreal holding on to those library stairs, and Brios as well. So they're basically 3-stacked holding on to this area. It is completely flooded by bees right now. They have got to get Candle out of this mess if they want to make a push.
That's right, and so they do. They start making that pushover, opening up the mirror. They're going to jump in and twist, and immediately able to find one. Brios able to answer back, but the damage is done. Now the main advantage into the hands of JJ and Co's. They find themselves up in a 4-3 with less than 60 as it starts to count down. So not opened up on the single wall, which means they're going to be holding on to closet still, and you kind of have to because of just like what you were just talking about, hatch getting opened up, the play just being too difficult to hold on to, which means they will be able to potentially get into sight through that window and start getting that plant down.
And look at this, 3 seconds, or three team left from the core side, 30 seconds left. They're opening up lines, but still working on droning from this JJ and Co side. Are they going to be able to pull off this execute? It's about to collapse on the defense, but right now, 3-3.
And okay, so a little bit of extra damage done puts us into a 2-2. Starting to make this final push into it. 11 seconds on the door. Poised, pressed to push in. The closet control is had. Now puts himself off to the back of the chassis. The plant started to go down, but the vertical has been retaken. Brios here in a position to make the shot. He's going to find it taken as the trade happens, and Moses going to be up for the double.
Wow. Huge, you said it, huge retake coming in. Man, we've talked about these two teams fighting back and forth, the back and forth battle on Bank. It was a 7-4 victory for Core, but up until the very end of that map, it was a battle back and forth. Core ended up winning 3 in a row in order to send them to close out that map, but we're going to start off Chalet the same way. No one with a significant advantage. Man, early on, this is looking like a fantastic game.
Yeah, no kidding. The back and forth, exactly what you would want for it. And that adaptation by Core worked. They finally capitalized. They can't. Well, I say finally. It's only round 2, but I mean it's Chalet. You expect those defensive wins very quickly, especially in the first couple, primary and secondary, just being almost the guaranteed W's. Now they head on to the other first floor site as our first bit of round rotate is going to be had here, and it's going to see us at kitchen dining, and it's going to see some similar play to what we're used to. The castle up here to help hold on to the extension. The fun part is they didn't bring the Mira, so not going to be utilizing that closet space up top, not going to be utilizing that single wall down below on the first floor. Instead, it's the Azami. I'm not mad at it.
All right, my friend. It's working through this one, man. This is the double shield now coming out from JJ and Co. They're not set with having JJ run Blackbeard. They want to switch him over to the Blitz and then pick up Rival on the Blackbeard. The double shield play here for the kitchen dining. Are they going to jump right in to that trophy window again? No, I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach this time, and all of the throwables coming in. The projectile deny from Brios, though, is in play, but look at this. They do push right in West Main.
Yeah, not afraid to take that space, and they've claimed it, and now plant's starting to go down. Huge bit of play here by JJ and Codes. They look to take advantage of an easy gap spot. Do take some damage from above, but it's answered back, and that's going to be Snake's Armetta on a low health scenario. Candle's going to get taken out. Twist is able to find him and stuff the flame, so now into a 4v1. Rio's the last alive, and he's going to drop to his death from the hatch above.
That's right, the last opportunity he tried, but playing behind this shield, man. The shield meta is such an important part of the way the game is being played right now. We talk about at least one, most of the time, 2 of them being banned out during the phase, but this time getting the chance to see JJ and Co saying Dokkaebi, they want to avoid that and make sure that both of the shields are left on the board and just leaning into it. We're going to see the Blitz and Blackbeard at least initially shown. So what does Core do? What's the adaptation? They're going to try the kitchen site again. This time, though, bring out the Frost, bring out the Cap Can. They're going to go a little bit heavy on the traps with Xer also on the Legion. That's a change to this lineup and hopefully slow down the JJ and Co attack.
I love how they take the Dokkaebi out because, you know, roam game is so prevalent and present. And then they're not going to lean into it at all. It's just shield straight into sight, punch in the face, take the space, and go for a plant. I love that. And if Dokkaebi is a core part of, well, core, then it could be disastrous if you don't have that second shield play ready to go. Trap ops, though, this is the way to do it. Bring out 3, bring out the funnel tunnels of the castle, and of course deny that intel with mute. This is a good defensive lineup when you're running that double shield.
I agree. This is a great change up here. Now look at though, that's a late round cap can coming out from Brios. They're making sure that maybe not identified, maybe catch this JJ and Co team off guard. In addition to just bringing the cap can, making sure that they get a couple of those gadgets down late. Look at, oh man. Just right now, Inri are going crazy with the castle upstairs, opening up a ton of sight lines. They're going to make sure that they can see the attackers pushing in from anywhere. The trouble is, you still have got the shield in play, so they changed up the lineup, though, only bringing the Blackbeard this time, but Snake changing it up and bringing the Deimos. He's sitting at 4-1. He gave that interview last night on that huge win on the R6 main channel, looking to try and do it again here.
Okay, so starting to look towards that library presence. Got to find a way to dislodge the Frost, and they're going to do that. The flashes start to come out. They're going to force them back, which means they're going to be able to claim some of that second floor real estate, but it's across site, so it's not a huge prerogative to hold on to. Moses is going to find the first kills to take down the Deimos. And that was a big play. Deimos is huge. Not only is the gun great, the gadget incredible, but in the hands of the right person, that pistol is absolutely devastating.
Yeah, you said it, and like we talked about, Snake 4-1 to start off with, him going down as well. Big loss for the JJ and Co side now, with 1:20 left, 5 defenders left. Everybody upstairs on the 2F. They're fighting for this one, my friend. It's a first floor bomb site, but all the action happening upstairs. They know that they need to gain this vertical control. No one really pushing downstairs to go for more of a direct take.
Yeah, you don't need to, right? You can't, because the vertical is held so well. You have to dislodge them at least half of the site. You have to at least claim that top mez area and pushed back so that they're forced into the master bedroom area, or you have to do it from the other direction. You have to claim solarium, claim trophy, and then start to make the push into the kitchen site. If you don't have the vertical, exactly what happens. You have to spend all of your time trying to push the rest of the way out. So trap ops, did it work? Yeah, it did.
Yeah, and a huge commitment upstairs. It's rare we don't even see anyone, not a single defender holding onto that main site, just proving how important the vertical game here is. One of the reasons we talked about, I love this map. It really separates the good from the great teams that manage that vertical play in addition to a classic and great site setup. Then the problem is both of these teams great, fighting for their spot in the Challenger Series. We're in a winner-go-home scenario. This is a double elimination playoff bracket. Both of these teams have already been handed their first loss. So they are fighting for their lives down here in the loser's bracket. This is loser's bracket round 1. Waiting for the winner of this game, M80X.
Imagine going through all of the trouble of taking down Core Gaming, or going through all the trouble and finally defeating JJ and Co. just to have to play M80 next in a win-or-go-home scenario. It's a tough place to find yourself, but it is the path to pro, Whiskey. This is the gateway to greatness, and it needs to be the best of the best taking each other on and fighting for that spot, and that's exactly what we're seeing out of this T2 gameplay. So, back onto the first floor, back to that bar gaming where they had that second round success. They're going to try and repeat it here for their second part of this round rotate. And to do so, they didn't rely as much on the trap ops, right? They did bring the Frost out, they did bring the Legion, so still some dedication to it, but not looking to get active with that cap can again. And not saying the cap can is the end-all be-all, but something, I think, if you're running that double shield, is going to be necessary.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a change-up in the strat, right? They're going for the intel deny, bringing out the mute, as opposed to more of the direct stopping here of this attacking team. And the fact is that strategy worked, so it's interesting to see them try and change this up. It is the bar gaming site, so you have to play a little bit of a different strategy here. This push in through the basement, they had it reinforced, opened up, and now they've got that sight line into stock, so you can put some pressure whether or not anyone is playing in that spot. They're getting ready for the jump in. There it is, the frost mat, though. He's going to have to look it down as he makes that push in. And we talked about it being a back-and-forth battle. 2-2, back and forth all the way.
Yeah, no kidding. And just to update you from the mainstream, it appears that the Unks have taken map number 1. They also move on to Chalet as their map number 2. So both channels right now battling it out here in the Alps.
I love that this is the map where we get to see battle done. Who's it going to be, man? Taking down that Mez player, but no answer back on the blue stairs. 55 seconds left. We're tied up 2-2 in the scoreline, 3v4 in the man count.
That is the greatest
minute of gameplay
moment in my life.
And we appreciate the subs. Thank you for the tier 1. Much appreciated as we're watching these two teams do battle. It's a win or go home scenario. 38 seconds left, my friend.
That's right, and it's really starting to count down, so starting to make them rotate up. Attack has claimed the man advantage, and they're still getting drones in. Snake's trying to get some absolute intel with those Twitch drones, and they're going to find Inrio off the board as Twist's able to take them, and that's going to be the plan starting to go down. Now Snake's able to find Answer, and Moses falls as well. Huge bit of plays here.
neither of these teams right now gaining a significant advantage. They are answering back. They have got an answer for everything. 2F, JJ, Bar Gaming, Core, Kitchen, they go back and forth, winning one apiece, and then Bar, JJ winning. None of the sites they've played have been won twice in a row by either of these teams. They are adapting back and forth for this battle, and JJ and Co. showing up with a 3 attacking win already on what I think is a defensive site. That's a huge step in the right direction because all of the pressure is on JJ and Co. We are in map 2 of the best of 3. Core has already picked up map 1 with a 7-4 victory on Bank. Unless JJ and Co. can find success and win here on Chalet, they will be going home.
Oh man, here's the question as we reach the last round of the first half of the second map here is what does the standard split look like? Now, I think normally we'd say defensive sided map a little bit, right? But as they're kind of evolving the strategies, we're seeing a lot more attacker wins come out. So it can start to lean into that attacker. You can start to see 4-2 on the other side as well if you've got a really well put together attack team. But man, what does a 3-3 look like for the other side of this round? Core has got a really great attack team, but JJ and Co is aggressive on the defense. I mean, Whiskey, this feels like this could take us into OT.
Wouldn't surprise me in the least. Now, let's take a look at the stats just for the Challenger Series. Looking back across the Swiss stage and the playoffs so far, Chalet, 60% defensive win. So definitely on the defensive side. Now, I know we always talk about it. Jesse talks about it. When you actually get down to it, it comes down to the individual team, how they're playing. But right now, statistically, very much a defensive-sided map. So Core, they've got their work cut out for them. They have got to find a win up here on the second floor. JJ and Co won it back on round 1. A lot has happened since that point, and now 1 minute in, still stacked up 10 apiece. Rival on the Blackbeard, and Snake finding Candle for the opening pick.
Huge pick too, because not only does that get the kill, but that takes away those Kiba barriers. So any of them that weren't put out, gone for the rest of the round. Does find another kill as Brios goes down, but the trade happens. Rival taken off the boards. It's Spearhead now gone. So the attack a little bit stymied, but they've claimed the man advantage currently.
Right now, JJ and Co. pretty balanced overall in terms of kills. We've seen some of these games where at least one person going crazy, just annihilating the team. But right now, Snake maybe going to be that guy, 7-2. But everybody on his team being a part of it. Exer, Inrio need to lock in. Both stuck at 1 kill apiece and going to stay there for Inrio. It is all down to Exer.
That's right, and they send a C4 out, but I believe it got shot out before the explosion. Unless I had the glitch and didn't hear it. But they're now starting to make that pressure up on Solarium. They're gonna find it. It's just a complete flood into the top here. They're able to take that kill.
Wow, so rather than having this Core team lock in, get set, and tie it up, we're going to see an attacker-sided Chalet with JJ and Co. picking up 4 to Core's 2. Now they are on defense, on their map pick with a little bit of an advantage. If you're a JJ fan, this is starting to look a little good. If you're the Core fans in chat, you want them to lock in and shut this thing down in 2. Don't let JJ and Co. get some momentum up and try and take it to map 3.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Okay, so time to switch it up. The op swap, the gear switch. See what JJ and Co is bringing to their defensive side of it. They're going to stick that first floor play. We're going to see that kitchen dining as the go-to to start us, and get a little bit more in line with what we had talked about, what we thought sort of that setup looked like. Emilio does bring along the Mira, hold on to the single wall, and I imagine throwing one up in the closet above as well.
That's right, playing upstairs. You can see the castle locking this in. Snake, man, 8-2. What a hell of a game he's having, but backed up. Even the worst player on their team at 3-3-3, Emilio. That's a great place to be when you're talking about holding on here to your playoff hopes. Now, look at this. They had 2 players holding on to the big window double, and there it is. Snake picks up another and is ready to put the castle barricade back in place. What a play between those two. Well coordinated. He picks up another 9 and 2. Man, JJ & Co. is on, well, was on fire. Just picking up kills across the board, even if it's their teammates.
Oh, Emilio able to take Candle down with some vector play. Does take the man advantage back into the hands of JJ & Co., but only just barely, as that unfortunate TK has rang out. You know what's crazy is I think, like, over the last, like, 4 or 5 games, we've seen a TK ringing out. The passion just being incredible out of all teams involved.
Yeah, reputation system be damned. They're going for the kills no matter what. Now, look at this. They have got this locked in play. The two-brow going to come in. No one there to back him up. JJ not in a position to throw a Kiba barrier down, but the one-way angle set up on Piano here by Rival. It's one of the reasons that Azami is such an important part of the defensive lineup, but we're going to see Exer eventually, and that Thermite get the wall open. We got to see him pick up a kill, though, and lock in.
Minute and 30 left on the board. Starting to put some pressure here on the second floor, waiting for that two-brow gadget to finally release the Thermite. It's crazy how that two-brow it takes up all 4 of those walls. They finally get it opened up, and now the pressure being put on the Piano. Twist goes down, but it's taking Brios along with him, and a C4 out of JJ is going to claim the lost one. The last one.
The last one! Yeah, man, C4s, we've talked about how it just... The C4 explosions ever since the nade nerf have really stepped up the pace, and JJ & Co. matching that in this game, 5 and 2. We said it was a back and forth battle, and it was all the way up until round 4, and since then, JJ & Co. dominant in the last 3. Snake continuing to pad that KD, and look at that. Look at the kills across the JJ & Co. Everyone contributing right now. Core struggling a little bit to get anything going. These are 2 great T2 teams, and unfortunately, only one of them can win and move on today. This is a win or go home scenario. We're in map 2 of the best of 3. We've got one more. If JJ & Co. can pull off a win here on Chalet, then we will see Nighthaven Labs as the decider.
Oh, man, I can't wait for that. I hope that's the way we head to. Nighthaven Labs is my favorite map, and these 2 teams, they're definitely down to pull out some of those off strats that makes Nighthaven so fun to watch. Back to Bar Gaming, Whiskey. JJ and Co. are up 5-2, 1 away from that coveted match point scenario, securing themselves at least one more map. See if they've got the clutch power to bring it off. The gut check here needed. Core Gaming needs to step it up if they want to end this 1-2.
Yeah, they certainly do. Now, we're going to see this first floor site again, making this push in. See what the attacking team is setting up, looking to bring out some of that vertical play now as they realize where this team is setting up. But the combination of Rival on this, Rival on the Azami, JJ on the Mira, and then Twist holding down the smoke for some of that area. Now, it's a good setup, and they're opening up again a lot of sight lines. Seems to be a little bit of a hallmark of this team. Tons of sight lines opened up, making it very easy to try and get some shots here on this attacking team as they move in. And look at this, both teams opting for that new tech Mira strat, holding on to the window from the site.
Huh, is it? Yeah, I guess we're seeing the meta change right now. Whiskey, put that in the ranked book. Although none of us really play Mira, so maybe moot point. Maybe we need to start playing Mira. That's the key.
Mira banned, I mean, it was banned still in the ranked strats, more than competitive play, certainly, so it wasn't really an option. Part of the reason we see some of these ops fall in and out of favor is whether or not you can build strats around them. Does the opposing team ban that op too often for you to be able to get any real practice or real opportunity and to work those strats? So with this last 2 minutes in gameplay down, Core trying to find something that can work. Push this attacking team out, or this defending team out, but that shield top blue still in play. You can hear the Flores drones going out. That's an important focus for this team.
Yeah, and they're doing a great job of getting rid of this extension util, right? Getting rid of those frost traps, getting rid of those Kiba barriers, and specifically looking towards that shield. And here it is, yeah, that they're trying to take off the top of blue. It's one of those critical push points because you can hold so much area from there. So a couple of flashes go out as they start to make that initial push over there, and there's going to see the kill.
Snake.
Exer's going to go down. Frost able to find it. Snake
No
good
way.
for 2 as Brios is taken down. Candle finally able to stop the flow of bleeding as he takes down JJ. Does give the main advantage into the hands of JJ and Co. So they're looking to put themselves on that match point scenario. 4-3 Whiskey is where they sit. Now they just got to kind of hold out and play time, play on the trade game.
Yeah, they can. They can sit back and wait right now. They don't need to throw bodies. They're holding on to some trigger discipline. Snakesing at 11-3. Hell of a game that he's having right now. In Rio, struggling, still sitting at that 1-6, but working the Twitch drone right now, clearing out some of this defensive utility. They still have 50 seconds left. Plenty of time for these 3 attackers to try and make something happen. They have got to engage at least 1 or 2 of these JJ and Co players, try and get them in a 2v1 scenario, even up the man count, and then make the push.
That's right. Get themselves set up for that X-Cube. Floor is going to get active with another Rotero drone. Get rid of some of this barbed wire, open up a little bit of the wall inside of sight there so they get a little bit more of a direct approach should they choose to start going that way. Oh no, some siege timing might amount to the kill down below onto the Inrio, who you're right, does sit 1-6. Candle goes down. Inrio finally
there it is.
Second kill as the 417 rings out against Twist. And Snakes Armetta finds the answer back. Moses to find one on the Snakes. Now into a 1v2. 7 seconds left to swing towards the main lobby. He's got a perfect Akiba barrier to start going for the plant. He pulls off. 1 second left. Not able to find it. Defenders are going to take it, and they're going to put themselves onto a match point scenario.
Oh, yeah, even though he was planting behind the Kiba, which honestly was a little bit of a legendary play, the problem is Azami was holding on to the doorway right there, blocking off his angle, so he had to walk around the Kiba towards the door to be able to take the fight directly. Man, perfectly played on the JJ and Co side. We said they needed to win this map. They had to win their map pick of Chalet in order to move on. They are on match point here for map 2, looking to tie this up, tie the series up with Core.
Attackers need to locate
Man,
and
Whiskey.
defuse as
So
many bombs as they
it starts to feel a lot of pressure if you're Core Gaming, right? Obviously, you want to try and end it in 2, right? That's always the goal. Take the first 2, be done with it, it's over. But when the third one is Nighthaven Labs, JJ and Co are really a good Nighthaven Labs team. In fact, the last time we saw them play, at least on the Siege double shot, wasn't that against the M80?
It was 7-1 victory for JJ and Co versus M80X, which is widely considered one of the best Nighthaven Labs teams. This JJ and Co team 7-1 to them. So I think this honestly is going to put a significant hole in the boat, if you will, for Core staying afloat. We said, at least early on, that I thought that this map ban pick favored JJ and Co based on the way that they had played it out. Core came up with a huge win on Bank, but JJ and Co has answered back in a big way. There was a question about, is the mental chalked? Certainly not in the way this one has gone.
Ooh, sheesh. Okay. So the pressure on Core Gaming need to come up with 4 in a row. They've got to be perfect for 4 to bring this one back. And where do we see JJ and Co take it? Down into the basement. It used to be, Whiskey, that I thought basement was a moot point, completely solved, incredibly difficult to push into, easy to push into because there's so many areas of attack. Immediately going to find the first kill onto Candle. But now, just the way that you're able to hold on to the verticality and extend out on some of those push points that really make basement tough. Oh my gosh, Rival and Emilio able to take 2. Now puts us into a 5v2. Basement is now one of my favorite sites here for Chalet. Finally get the answer back. 417 from Inrio going to take Emilio off the board and stop that Kiba barrier play. But damage done, Whiskey. It is a 4v2 now. Makes a push in towards blue.
Wow!
JJ's able to just rip him off the board. Inrio, the last alive. He's 3-7, and he's got to be perfect for 4 kills, or this one is done and dusted. And we see Nighthaven Labs. So he's going for the pixel. A quick swing from Scopos, and instead JJ's still going to take the kill. Sheesh.
Wow, my friend, there it is, a 7-2 victory for JJ & Co. on Chalet. They showed up when they needed to. This was a huge win for this team. Snake having an unbelievable game to shut this thing down on the MVP. Man, well played by them. I was worried, honestly, a little worried about how this team was handling the mental after that first game, but they answered back in a huge way, and we are going to map 3 of this best of 3. No one ready to go home yet, but unfortunately, someone has to, and we've got one more map to figure it out.
Man, when you put it that way, feels like it's all on the line. Well, I guess because it is. Go
It
big
is.
or go home
It
on
is.
map number 3, and we're going to Nighthaven Labs. This is going to be an absolute banger. Core needs to show up, or JJ & Co. is moving on. Sit back, relax, because when we come back, it's going to be the stunning conclusion and the very last map. Ayo.
Let's go.
What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. It has all come down to this map number 3. Go big or go home. That's what's on the line right now as we head into Nighthaven Labs. Whiskey, break it down for us.
That's right, Nighthaven Labs, my friend. We made it. We're here, map 3. It is a win or go home scenario. You said it. Nothing else we would rather see than a map 3. Send it to OT. Take it all the way. Only the best of the best can make it. And when it's come down to Core and JJ & Co., they have gone back and forth. It's been a battle, but right now, man, it feels like, you know what, I'm not even going to predict it. I'm going to wait. I want to wait and see what happens between these two teams because, honestly, it is too damn close to call.
Yeah, it really is, with too much on the line. Band's going to stay the same, at least for the first couple. Dokkaebi and Mach-T to fall. Going to see the Fenrir taken off next, and that's kind of an instrumental pick here, right? Fenrir is utilized a ton for that for that second floor and for that basement hold. This time he's going to be taken off the board, and Tubarao going to follow it up, which means Azami and Valk and Mira all left alive to be utilized.
Yeah, that is wild. That is when you say it, a defender delight at this point for all of the options that they get to choose. And they're going to bring out Mira and Azami to start this thing off. I wondered whether or not they would opt for the intel. We'll see whether or not that changes as the game moves on. Are they going to need that extra intel on this core team, or are they going to go for the direct deny? The combination of the Cade Bandit, making the change up there at the last second, going to ensure that they keep those walls locked down tight, force Core into some of those specific doorways, hallways, hatch drops, those, that kind of play, and they're going to force Core to play vertical.
Yeah, one of the things that I like seeing brought out here, there is a couple of different strats to be utilized for basement. One of them is bring all of the denial, every single piece that you can. The other strat is leave it completely open and just hold on to the vertical. What they did here was they allowed themselves the opportunity kind of for both. They do have all of the breach denial, so hatches staying closed, main breach staying closed outside of the Thatcher getting involved or the Mav getting involved, but also bringing along the area denial of the Goyo and the Mira slowdown, right? That can be absolutely huge, especially if you get a couple of Goyos on that Exo stairs and that heading into tank assembly where that default plant has sort of started to reign supreme. You stop a lot of different action right there with those 3 operators.
Man, so close. Even the prediction that was up was very close. Nearly 50-50 between these two teams up until a moment ago. So the fans split. The JJ & Co. and Core Gaming fighting it out here at the end. You could see that a wall electrified. So they're going to make the rotate around. Brio's going to bust open that wall. When you take a look at the JJ & Co. defense, they have nobody upstairs on the 2F. That could cause this core team to waste a lot of time upstairs holding onto the vertical in that top-down clear and give JJ & Co. a little bit of a boost. The question is, how quickly can Core Gaming make that assessment and change the strat?
Look at this, 2 floor from both directions. Sees a peek. Oh, takes a swipe. Just misses it. Twist is able to take Moses off the board in the first bit of exchange. And then an air jab going to force back. Man, that was huge and might have even saved Twist's life there as those shots started to ring out.
Yeah, that was crazy to see that interaction happen. But right now, you can see, take a look at all those blue outlines. They are over on the warehouse side, leaving the kitchen side a little bit open. And Arrival sort of a little bit on an island here, being Deimos tracked and having 4 stacked up around him. They are using the map to open up that vertical hatch. We've got a minute 18 left with 9 players left alive. That 4v5 scenario, the attackers just down 1 right now, but they've got to get that hatch open. They're taking, again, a little bit too long working this util.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the crutch points of bringing along all of that extension util is it just slows you down. And if you're able to stick some pretty good vertical play, and there's just no telling. You're going to have to be planting at 10 or 15 seconds left on the clock, and that spells disaster for anybody. So Deimos pings start to go out as they're going to try to put a little bit of pressure on the site here. You see a bit of the drop down, and that's going to force him along to the back areas. Deimos trying to catch him through the vertical.
JJ
to find a double though as it answers back from Brios, taking Rival off the board, puts us into a 4-2 scenario. As JJ and Co looking really dominant here in this first round. A quick swing. He's going to push up and take it straight in the face, but Emilio's going to take it with a vector of candle. Flame snuffed. Second one is to be found by Snakes Armetta, and that's going to be a defensive hold and win.
All right, defense picks up round 1. I wouldn't say that's surprising at this point. We talked about how good JJ & Co. is on Nighthaven. Core, though, it's time to step it up. It is a do-or-die scenario. Last opportunity here. What are they going to change up? Using the Maverick to open the hatches, just taking too long, not working out. That combination of both the Bandit and the Cade really stymieing the core attack. It slowed them down to the point that they just couldn't get anything going. Lost a couple of the battles as they pushed down the stairs. We know it. The pros talk about it. The most dangerous way to traverse levels in the game of Rainbow Six Siege is the stairs. You've got to have the hatches and the alternative entries open to be able to make that play.
Okay, so take it up to the second floor. This is, you pick your poison when you're picking your primary on whether you want to take the second floor or the basement first. And you know you're going to see both of them right out the gate. So you see this one played similarly that you would to a gym bedroom site on Clubhouse, where you just need to get every single wall open. They brought 0 denial for this one up here on the top. It's just a foregone conclusion with the Mav being on the board that they're going to eventually get the wall opened up. So back to that mirror trick on the main breach, opened up. Make it so you can't bring the thermite along. They're not even going to put him in the lineup.
I mean, it has been very successful using that mirror trick on that. We've seen it on M80, very successful on Nighthaven, seen it here from JJ. That works. Makes it so that you have an easy impact trick, causes the defense to have a little bit of an angle as on the attackers as they try and make their way in. Gonna use the Mav this time upstairs, open up this connector wall, assuming, I'm hoping that they can get that main breach open, but that mirror is gonna make it difficult to work the Mav trick.
Yeah, put some open holes right at knee level can make it incredibly difficult. So they take a couple of approaches as they start to look in. Rotero drones getting active towards that riverside. That's a key piece of property when making that all-in push. And look at that. Got Snakes Armetta lined up for the Jinxie C4, where we watched Jinxie drop a double in that rival roller series, and then several people attempt to get that same job done afterwards.
It's when you hear the attackers outside, almost a guarantee you get that toss over the wall. It's a well-protected position from a defensive point of view. So Brios now working the Blackbeard, making the push in. Yeah, they've got a little bit of pressure here. Going to take down a rival there. They're going for it. The impact trick coming out, though. Not successful. He's going to be able to get that wall and take down the mirror. He takes a couple shots. Emilio going to find Candle as the first.
Man, what an opening pick, too. You've got your entry done and dusted off the board. So now that they've got it in, the grenade's going to force some movement on the side of Rival, who puts himself into a disadvantageous situation. And now it's starting to rotate back for everybody with the crosses set up and in play. Snakes Armetta goes down, and that's going to be the equalizer should they be able to confirm the kill. They do, as the grenade rings out, but it's also going to set off the Goyo Charm, or Goyo Canister, which is going to force them back towards that other breach towards Pillar, where they also have some waiting fire. So it's going to be a hurry up and wait scenario. No way do we see another TK ring out. JJ takes down Rival. Man advantage now into the hands of Core Gaming.
The C4 comes out. Is he going to catch one? No, nothing happening there the last 30 seconds. The utility dump coming in. Full white there as Inrio picks up another one. It's a 4v2 scenario. 4v1. Looking good for Core in that final play, but Twist is not done yet.
Oh, man, almost takes one off the Aussie Repel as well now. So now they put themselves onto that, I was going to say onto the Pillar plant, but Aussie Repel going to come by and save the day as he takes the swing from the catwalk.
I love that play. It's rare that you get to see the upside down rappel on that wall. Normally it's opened up by the thermite. There's no opportunity just because you're so exposed holding onto that. But because there was a significant piece of the wall still left available, he was able to work the vertical and Aussie Repel. Not a lot of great angles you can catch from that. It's just an important point that you have to have open so the defense gives up the complete control of the warehouse because you've got that long angle. But, man, well played there from the Core side. We set a back and forth battle all the way back on Chalet. They are delivering again. These two teams, man, it seems they are destined to do battle all afternoon. We're going to be missing Easter dinner at this rate, my friend.
That's true, but who wants Easter dinner when you can have Map 3, Core vs. JJ and Co? We're here for it, baby. This is the path to pro. It's all on the line, and it's go big or go home time, man. And you know what? That Aussie Repel, it's fun. It's tough to get past, and in the hands of the right person, a good Aussie Repel has just been absolutely devastating. I know it's one of your favorite moves and plays to bring out. In fact, we even watched Whiskey Run on one of our latest TikToks get a Glass Ace off an Aussie Repel, so make sure you check that out.
It's a pretty rare occurrence, but yeah, one of the favorite plays. Now, we watch this team setting up the upstairs. They've got the deployable and choosing now. We talked about it. The Valk coming out. Rival going to change up, and they're going to go for intel on this Core Gaming. They're changing the setup on the fly, changing the way that this round is played. I think that's a significant reason why JJ & Co. is one of the better Nighthaven Lab T2 teams out there.
Yeah, is the difference between being proactive and reactive, right? And they do a great job at forcing new scenarios on old strats. So Maverick able to open it up. Buck gonna give him a little bit of the assist there, and it's back to the Aussie Repel as they look to try to put some pressure onto that deployable that they've got outside. Normally, that's where we see that Fenrir gadget placed up at the top, making it difficult to push in. But look at that, just gonna push up. Twist able to find one off the board. Man advantage down to the hands of the defense, but Blackbeard just made his way into the second floor, takes a couple shots towards River, and then loses.
Oh, he loses!
A C4 rings out, and Frost finds one as well, and that's going to put us into a 5-2, a 4-1 on the trade, as Snake is able to take one down before Emilio gets caught. Give Snake good for the double. Snake eyes. I guess that's one, huh?
I mean, it's a double one.
That could have been such a good call.
Double one in this case, man. JJ & Co. comes back up with another win upstairs. The back and forth battle just does not stop. We're going to see the basement now from JJ. They played basement back on round 1, won it, lost the second floor, and then won it. We don't have to play that tertiary site yet. They're looking for a win here at this point, but Snake, man, what a game. What a series that he's had overall. He's sitting at 3-1. Twist sitting at 4-1. JJ at 3-1. Right now, this that trio of players putting up a hell of a game against Core. Core, right, they have had their great moments. That map 1 was fantastic on Bank to win out and start this series off right. Since that time, they've struggled to really gain any sort of significant dominant position over JJ & Co. So if you're a Core fan, now is the time for this team to step it up. We need them here to pick up and continue the back and forth and hopefully build up a little bit of a buffer here on Nighthaven.
Yeah, well, they got one of them done, right? They find a second one. They're going to feel pretty good going into their defensive half. 4-2 being that standard split unless you've got a really just insane attack team. And not that it takes an insane attack team to be successful on attack for Nighthaven, but it sure turns the tide if you have a good attack team over a good defensive team here on Nighthaven Labs. So
I love this strat
man.
in the basement, running the Mav here, opening up the multiple sight lines. You don't necessarily need to have that entire wall open. You go for the EXO into assembly corner plant take, as opposed to, going a little bit of direct, forcing through those open breaches. Just use the Mav holes. Maybe, in this case, they don't have a glass, but one of the long range, in this case, Xer playing that OSA. Hold on to those angles, prevent the defense from making the push over from tank onto the assembly side, get that plant down. But they're working the vertical on top right now. Twist, the ceiling just collapsing around him as the boogie drone comes out, shredding the floor.
That's right, and here's the problem: is they have to get all the way up to the second floor to take out the presence that was there. Now they've rotated down to the first, and mostly just hanging on to the stairs. So they wasted a lot of time, but they've given up a ton of real estate in return. Still holding on, but still with a chance to get back down into sight. Man, 2-1 on the scoreline. JJ and Co looking to have looking to have a better defensive half. That's gonna. Stuck with that one, though. Snakes gets taken down. Man advantage into the hands of Core.
Yeah, taking down Snake, that is a significant play here for Core. Man, already into a 5v4 scenario, but you've got 1 minute left. They've got a little bit of this vertical in play. You can see that ceiling and floor shredded right now, but no significant presence for this attacking team downstairs. They are pushing down the stairs right now in a little bit of a dangerous scenario. Does this JJ and Co defense have everything they need in this last 50 seconds? The Deimos here are going to try and find those last couple roamers, and yeah, it looks like they're going for this exo side take.
Yeah, now, here's the problem. Did the Goyos get the setup set up on that EXO door? Because if they did, a couple of impacts or a C4 or two gonna stop that approach completely, especially with only 30 seconds left. So you can see some of that fire already set there. Candle's gonna get taken out as they realize that they're coming down the back set of stairs now. So opening up means they're going to have to put pressure on whoever's behind that single wall, because almost assuredly there's going to be a C4 coming as well. Twist find Moses off the board. Brio's going for JJ, and that's going to be some above pressure now. As he's
Whoa, Xer!
Xer takes Twist off the board. A quick rotate. Nobody there on the holes to stop it except for Xer, and Brio's able to take
That was legendary.
Easy. That was crazy.
The Kiba barrier blocking off the sight lines that were specifically put there by the Mav. He walks up and tries to melee. Oh, that was legendary play. Man, the back and forth battle between these two teams is going to be etched in stone for the ages. I freaking love this game. And these two teams, only one of them sadly can move on in the lower bracket. Somebody is going home today at the end of this map. And we said it at the beginning. I have no clue who it's going to be because, man, neither team getting an advantage. What a day.
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
Okay, tied up 2-2. The back and forth, real present, a danger. Back up to the second floor now to try to hold on. You see Sentry being brought out here. A lot of utility to be had there. Couple of key pieces being that shield and the C4. Takes 3 C4s onto the board now because of being able to carry 2. Could be absolutely huge, especially somebody laying down in the that basement position or waiting for that lurk down below.
Whew, man, the heart is beating. This game is delivering on the hype. This is exactly what we wanted to see. The X-Pros, the T2 players, everybody fighting for their shot in Pro League. The problem is they're going to have to play M80X. The winner of this game moves on to take down that roster in the next lower bracket round. But we still got a lot of siege before we get to that point. And a 2F battle now. We've seen it. This will be the 3rd time, and it's been back and forth. Core picked it up the first. JJ and Co answered back with a strong defense. Core trying to find another win. This time, running that Mav, opening up that main wall. You heard the wall go down. They're going to use a C4. They're going to toss one through. They've got 3 on the board ready for it.
Yeah, and that's why you see him keep backing off every time he takes a little bit bigger chunk of the wall. He backs off for a second. The danger from the C4 is not just a clear and present, but almost inevitable, right? They will start sending those that direction, especially if they're able to catch your timing down.
So, got to contest with a mute jammer. Flores drone not going to quite get there just yet, but now they've impact EMP'd it, which means he's going to be able to start setting up to opening up part 1, step 1 of getting into the second floor.
Do you see how much utility they've got down here in the top rafters? They have got 3 of the Kiwi barriers, barbed wire and Goyle canisters, and then on the connector wall, the other main breach that they've got to get open. That one had 2 Goyle canisters, plus the Cade Claw coming in. They have got these breaches on lockdown right now. They're expecting Core to try and move direct, and right now they've got it basically forced into this this top river take. So you see this getting ready. The Yin Candle is coming out, going to bounce it off the wall. No, backs off, picks up the diffuser, going to go for it again. This final minute of gameplay going down, and right now it doesn't feel like Core knows exactly the way that they want to push this execute.
Yeah, it's definitely getting stymied over and over again, and now they've got really not very much time to get a lot done. Now, XR is able to take JJ off the board as the push starts coming in. Now sees it onto the river stairs and a C4 to end the life of the other, so does equalize. Twist able to find it. Campbell able to take Emilio down off the board.
Wow!
So now man advantage into the hands of nobody as it gets equalized. His rival able to body shot. Candle does take us into a 3-3. Now Blackbeard has moved inside of sight, and a quick shot's going to ring out from XR. It takes Snakes are done. Now Catwalk Pressure is going to equalize onto the 2-2 with 22 seconds left onto the board. A quick pre-fire, not going to happen. Twist and rival able to clean it up.
The back and forth does not stop between these two. JJ and Co. pick up a defensive win on what looked like it might be a Core victory. They had pushed in, gained that river control, had a sight, had the Blackbeard in play, and then just falls apart at the last second. A triple coming out from JJ and Co. in the final seconds of the round as it ticks down. We're going to see Basement again for the 3rd time. No first floor sights because of this back and forth battle. Man, my friend,
Your bombs from being defused by attackers.
my heart is just beating out of my chest right now.
Yeah, yeah, I can feel it, right? Edge of your seat type stuff. And now this is an impactful, important round, right? Because if Core Gaming takes a 3rd here on the series and ties us up 3-3, that is going to be incredible going into their defensive half. Core's been doing a great job at finding the gap, shooting it, and then capitalizing off of it. And that's exactly what happened in the last round. And they're going to do just that exact same thing on their defensive side of it. So, important round for both JJ and Core Gaming. So what does JJ and Co. bring to the table as they head up to that the next site? They're going to lean into that intel. We said you can play this site 2 different ways. One, incredibly breach heavy, where you're not going to allow them to get in and have to rely on the MAV to hold some of those angles, or lean into that intel, lean into that verticality, and you can see all of the defenders outside of JJ up top and moving around for that verticality.
All right, 30 seconds in. The direct take downstairs. This time they're opening that main breach up. Even though this JJ defense brought along a little bit of electricity, that Cade trick comes out, stops the Ace Selma from opening up the wall fully. They do get one sight line in, which honestly might make it a little bit more difficult there for the attacking team to make the push. So now they can't set up behind that wall. They can't focus on what they need to do. They're going to have to be mindful of JJ taking a shot from downstairs because he's holding on to that tank side, easily rotating over to the assembly as well. All the action, though, starting upstairs is that the Blackbeard makes the push in. Emilio devastates him, though, with the shotgun.
That's right, but immediately traded back as Moses is able to take one. Snakes taking Moses off the board. It's Trade City, and when the dust settles, JJ and Co. stands 2 members still, or 2 members more alive than Court. Man, I could have found a better way to say that. Man advantage to JJ and Co.
That's right, you said it, 4v2 at this point, and then the Mozzie drone coming out, the mobile intel, Twist sitting at 9-2. Originally, we were talking about Snake having an incredible game to start it off. Twist has become that guy, that win condition right now, sitting at 9-2, and in Rio, the hatch drop coming down. They're looking to try and find this plant spot. They have the opportunity, but the defense ready and waiting. Oh, Xer peeks it, though, loses the battle, and it's down to just in Rio in a 1v3.
Well, all the way until it wasn't. P10 Roney to take the kill on that one. That thing is an absolute laser beam.
All right, we saw this in the previous game. Back and forth all the way. The round count, if you can believe it, exactly the same as on Chalet. JJ and Core back and forth until JJ wins rounds 5 and 6. I mean, exactly the same way that this is played out. These two teams are just locked in. So here's the question. On Chalet, we saw JJ and Co. win 3 in a row to claim the map 7-2. Is Core going to be able to beat that round count? Are they going to be able to extend this, keep it going a little bit longer? They absolutely have to, because we are on map 3 of the best of 3 here in the lower bracket. Win or go home.
That's right. 3 rounds away for JJ and Co. Solidifying themselves into another round in the lower bracket. Core has got to be perfect. They have got to come up with some wins. Now they're on the defense. This feels like it could be a W. There is a couple of key operators being utilized here. One of them, Brios, bringing out that comfort pick of the Ella. We like the Ella pick because it gives that full shield break. So when somebody is running that Blackbeard, somebody is pushing up with that Monty or that Blitz, you can force that shield aside, give yourself a shot at taking out the knees, the toes, the ankles, or any of those tiny little bones that will lead to the death of a shield player. Back that up with the Legion, a little bit of static warfare. Is the zombie going to take over the catwalk? And of course, if she's available, Mira utilized here for the defense. This is a good defensive setup for Core. See what they have on the other side of it to try to counter this. No shield play and no double breach.
Honestly, I'm almost a little bit shocked the fact that we don't see a shield on the board here from JJ, considering how often they ran the double shield on Chalet. It was incredibly effective here. Now, not going to run it at all. They're going to run this hard breach, though, and make sure that they get that main breach open, but it is really being piecemealed right now. Just sort of a strange collection of holes in the wall. They're going to get rid of that... They're going to get rid of the bulletproof, though, that was causing a little bit of havoc, and maybe now get one more Selma in to try and open that thing up. Or Emilio, although that is a really dangerous point of entry there for the Mav at this point. It's a little bit too exposed. They're going to try the top of the river stairs here. They're getting down to this final minute and a half of gameplay. Again, all of the pressure here on Core right now. They're down in the round count. On the advantageous side, though, of Nighthaven Labs.
That's right. And so, Rival going to take a little bit of damage as he starts to apply some of that vertical pressure, pushing some of these players out of that critical push point that's held onto River, that's held onto the catwalk, and really solidifying the hold on the Mira. So, sees a little bit of the foot. That's going to be a quick shoot. Oh, man.
What a shot.
Moses. Control-Alt-Deletes Rival off the board as he said, don't shoot my feet, bro.
That is the vertical down below. They're not going to have the buck any longer trying to put pressure on this defense from down below. Snake's still running the Deimos. He's going to be the guy that can potentially continue to push that style of gameplay, but there it is, Ella finding it, targeting it. She's going to know where she's at, and now taking the shot up through the floor, just spraying the floor, not coming up with anything, though. The yellow Deimos ping coming out, but look at that. Candle reading in, coordinated, taking down a double, leaving JJ alone in this battle.
That's right, Siege timing going to claim JJ's life as well as the push just floods in from every single direction. A flawless round to get that much closer in the scoreline.
Damn, flawless victory there for Core. This is honestly the answer back that they needed. We said all the pressure was on Core. It is a defensive sided map. JJ and Co now picking up a little bit of this pressure on them, and you can see at least the initial show here, bringing back that shield lineup. So they deviated away from it, lost round 7 in dramatic, flawless fashion. They're going to go back to what was definitely working on Chalet.
That's right, and not just one, but line it up for 2 as Rival and JJ showing that shield play. And that was instrumental, right? It forced a change of operators for Core Gaming, where they had to bring more trap operators. Now, on the side of the defense, they're leaning into that second strat that we talked about, where they don't bring any breach denial. Getting the hatches open, getting the wall open, a foregone conclusion. So instead, it's going to be a little heavier on completing and on holding that vertical, specifically sending up that Mira to kind of hold it like you would see a 2F hold.
5 seconds left before insertion.
That's the question. Look at that. We've got, with Brios and the Mira playing upstairs, they have got a very deep hold. And putting the Mira window down, they're committing significant resources upstairs, expecting the full top-down clear from JJ and Co. Man, there is a huge opportunity here, though, from this attacking team if they spot that out and make more of a direct play. This could be it, and you can see it now. Right here, this can opener coming out, opening up that sight line. Nothing from the defense able to deny the hard breach.
Yeah, but there's, well, except for the vertical, right? Yeah, they can open it up, but they can't walk in and get it just yet. And even if they didn't play on that mirror, even if they rotated down afterwards, it would still be... Oh, they're going to go directly for it.
Yes.
The two are going to run straight in. They see the mirror that they're going to have to obviously deal with. Blackbeard just pushing straight into sight. Blitz is going to be the one that...
Unaware!
Be the spearhead here, but Blitz has the diffuser, so he's running directly in. Goyo goes down.
What's he doing?
That's the diffuser. That's the diffuser down, and your other shield is down. So quick plant averted. Now into a 3v2. His rival is also done and toasted. Answered back, though, as Xer goes down and a hail of bullets. Snakes is good for 2. Takes us into a 3v1. So what started out as a rush plan quickly fell apart, but brought back by Snakes, and they're able to get rival up as well. So now with 1:34, plant starting to go down, all of the pressure now put onto Brios as JJ and Co is looking to be one away from that match point scenario.
Insane push downstairs. How in the world does he take the shield, run right past the default plant scenario when you have coverage, go and take the fight directly, and then lose it? The fact that JJ and Co are this close to being able to win this round with the diffuser down is honestly insane. Brios has got his work cut out for him, though, in this 1v2, and goes down from Twist. Man, what a play here from this team. It was reckless, it was chaotic, but somehow it worked.
Yeah, somehow it worked. I think that's being the big key point. When you find yourself having your spearhead push in with the diffuser in hand, and yes, he gets a kill, but it goes down, it seems like the round is all but dusted. But they're just able to pull it back because Snakes sometimes is just better. Snake is meta. He is meta. He pulls off the victory there, and they're able to get 5-3-1 away from that coveted match point scenario. And just to give you a bit of an update here, folks, as well, on the Flow State Unks game, it currently sits 6 apiece on map number 2 on Chalet. The Unks have won map number 1. Flow State looking to try to keep their run alive. It's all tied up in OT.
Wow, going to OT. I mean, that's what you'd expect here as the teams start to get evened out, the better teams making it in and now fighting for the very last positions here in the lower bracket. These are win or go home games, both here and on the main channel. Core, JJ & Co. Only one can advance to take on M80X next weekend in that lower bracket run. Who's it going to be? Right now, definitely favoring a JJ & Co. Playing a little bit reckless, but that is working against this core roster. I don't know that that can stand the test of time. The timeout coming in clutch. Here on the Siege Double Shot, we talk about the timeout buff. Maybe 70% of the time, the team that takes the timeout wins the next round. Core looking to put that into play here today.
Yeah, and hoping that they do, because JJ & Co.'s one away from match point. Right, so now... Man, now we head down to that first floor. Now we're going to see a little bit of that vertical being held by a zombie all the way up on the second. A dedication to the vertical. Nobody down below. Sometimes you like to see that cam come out in the hands of Pulse, kind of directing where the traffic's going to be coming from. Sends that C4 in when it's on the late round, but not going to be the case here. It's going to be a full dedicated and a full investment up onto the second floor.
Yeah, we've seen Core really invest in the roam game here, both from a player and from a utility perspective, expecting JJ & Co. to work that top-down clear, but we have also seen them play site direct. It nearly fell apart, and honestly, I'm not even sure how it didn't on that previous round, so they can play the adaptable style. We'll see whether or not that's how this one plays out. In a 3-5 scenario, Core needs to win this one, and it generally defensive sided, but we're one apiece right now on the Core Gaming defensive half.
I like the global gadget of the Finka being brought out. A couple of shots towards that main breach, but they're not going to opt for the straight map hold or open this time. They're going to let some charges do their work. I think the big key play, that lurk. Nook on the board, going to come in from potentially towards that river stair area, already making their way inside the lobby to put the pressure on from behind, catch somebody, potentially rotated downstairs below. Going to be looking for Moses mostly, the Mira, who does sit on the first floor.
This is tons of play happening upstairs. I mean, we know that hold upstairs is going to be the most important part, and man, those Legion Goos being extremely successful against this JJ and Co push in. I think Rival hit 2 or 3 of those things. The mirror window's down, and boy, I was gonna say, how did he just bash through that mirror window? But it was on a soft wall, left open and alive. Look at this, the crazy play, back and forth. Twist takes one down, Candle goes down. Boy, it's a 4v2 scenario.
Oh, man, now into a 3-2, now into a 3-1 as Extra's able to find one. Snake answers back onto Moses, now into a 2v1. The Nook being the play that has to happen here, has made his way down onto the first floor, looking to get engagement onto the Legion. Hears him, takes a couple of shots, nobody there just yet. Still has 2 nades, can still send a bit of that distraction in. Almost takes out his own drone and just what is a reflex, and finds one on the vertical. Legion Goo goes off again, and he's a low health, so he has to stop and take it out now. Diffuser is cold up onto the second floor, but the rotate down here
No way.
by Legion. It is a low health scenario for the Nook. He has got to be successful. It's got to be a quick headshot play, or Legion's going to win out this gunfight. Sends in a grenade. Going to force that Legion back just a little bit. Looks towards the rotate. Nobody there to answer just yet. 23 seconds on the board. Sends a quick shot. Trying to cover up that he made the vault over, and now Legion starts to back downstairs with the diffuser all the way upstairs. This is you have to make the decision. You have to either go for the kill or go get the case, but 9 seconds left. He's going to get stymied out
Indecision.
Yeah, and that's going to be the great staller. This is going to be a core win because there's no way Legion pushes back up for this.
Operators, you have run out of time.
Holy cow. Man, we said it was a back and forth battle. We said the timeout buff in effect. Core picking up both of those. They win the next round after losing to JJ and Co. and win after their timeout. Send us into a 4v5. The crazy part was the 2 guys left alive both had a KD of 8, 5, and 2. They decided to avoid it and stay lockstep. Neither one wanting to go down or pick up the advantage. Those guys stay 8, 5, and 2 as Legion backs off. Honestly, great play there from Core. They pick up the win, and JJ and Co. Man, now they've got to find this opportunity upstairs on the second floor. This one, back on round 7, was a Core flawless victory, so they're better sight so far.
Man, they were going to try to hide the clash play here, but not only do they not get the drone, but the drone puts himself up into a spot that you got to now, what you going to do, buddy? Well, you now have to use an impact to get it off of there if you want to get that stinking drone out of there. So, huge miss on the side of trying to hide the clash.
5 seconds remaining.
That's funny.
They're heading out to the bomb.
Hey, you know, these guys have been playing together. There was some discussion, right, that players swap teams, trying to find the current stack here in the Challenger Series. These rosters have been locked. They will need to stay together all the way through the end of Stage 1 if they make it into the Pro League. So they're locked in at this point, but there is a lot of switch that goes on between them, so these players know each other. And a little bit of friendly banter back and forth. This 2 minutes and 30 seconds, though, only one of these 2 teams can win. And we're going to see JJ bring out the Chalet for, I think, one of the first times today seeing this op.
Okay, so got the Chalet out. I like this play. There's only a couple of sites where I think it's really the go-to op, and this can definitely be one. That long distance being incredibly difficult. Should you catch somebody slipping, be able to put him sleeping. Mav going to get to work on this back wall. Start kind of doing the open sesame strat. Open everything up and make sure that you can try to tighten the rope as you group these defenders together. Catch them on the rotates back. Flores drone goes in to get rid of that deployable shield, which is that critical piece. But Clash is there. Clash serves as another shield for that same exact reason. We saw it used on the holding on to blue on Chalet. I like the play here.
They've used the Mav, they've opened up that wall, plus the Flores, so now they've got control there of Connector. We're going to see the defense just lock that thing down now that the wall is open. But it killed a ton of time. We're sitting at a minute 15 left by the end of this, and they've only now managed to gain control of Connector. There's a little bit of the utility dump coming in. You can see Chalet getting ready. They open up a couple of holes for her to be able to take shots in, and these defenders are all stacked up, and there it is. JJ finding one. Brio's going to answer back, though.
Yeah, and they're going to take the Mav off the board. Some of that's going to stay closed just a little bit longer because there's no can openers on board. So whatever's opened up is opened up, and that'll be the end of it. They have to find an alternative way in. Brios with a Vector going to take Rival off the board. And no main breach opened up either. So really just an incredibly different way to play this for the attack side. And while I applaud the use of the Cali, I just shake at the not bringing any hard breach to the table and just thinking the map is going to be able to get it done. Now, they do open a couple of holes, and that's going to make it difficult as Cali can hold on to the long angle and will be able to force that clash shield aside should they start to get the hits on it. But you got to have somebody in place to be able to do it. To do that, you're going to have to take some catwalk.
Xer
takes Twist off the board. Double rings out those. JJ's going to find another one. Snake takes his Moses off the board, and that's going to be an attacker win. And while they didn't do it in the standard fashion, they still got the job done.
And that was a 4-piece for JJ running the Cali. 3 with the DMR, and then 1 with the SMG. Damn, what a play to put JJ and Co on match point. And it's not just match point, my friend. We are on match points, map points, and lower bracket win or go home point. JJ and Co 1 round away from a 3rd rematch with M80X.
Oh, man. And just to keep you updated, 7-7 in overtime. The Unks are in a post-plant scenario on the defensive side of it. They've got the man advantage, but it's starting to fall apart into a 2-2 scenario as Flow State looking to get themselves onto that last map. So it is all down to it, my friends. If the Unks win it, that's over. They don't. Flow State takes it. They're moving on to map 3.
Man, both of these games locked into the final play. I mean, man, it has come down to the wire. We are seeing the best of T2 at this point. The teams that need to win, that want to win, make it into Pro League. This is their opportunity. Challenger Series coming back and giving everybody the opportunity to enter into Pro League. We saw 400 teams compete into the Open Series to make it this far. There has been a tremendous amount of Siege played. We got to cast 14 different games for M80X on their way in. Everybody having to take that same level of gameplay all the way through. JJ and Co, though, looking to shut it down right now and end Core Gaming's run. Core has got to find a 2 to be perfect for 2 to send it to OT.
Oh, man, okay. JJ and Co. bringing along some great ops for this as well. Verticality to be had with Twists. Also gives you that quick entry into the building, taking down those soft breaches pretty quickly. And then Snakes are meta, putting themselves onto the thick lock. A little bit of that crowd control, a little bit of making sure that you can't get that impact lurk that has just been so prevalent in the Challenger Series since we have started casting it. So, on the side of the defense, they switch up completely. Solus and Vigil being brought out. This is a great play. This is going to completely throw it off if they get the first pick, and that first pick almost assuredly has to be on to Twist.
And we are coming down to the end of it. This is, I can't believe it. JJ and Co 1 round away. Core trying to shut this thing down. Who's it going to be? We are a minute 44, getting close to halfway through this round. All 10 left alive. They are taking their time. They're playing the strategic version of Siege. There's no TDM meta here right now. They're waiting, working this slowly, maybe a little bit too slowly. This could be the boost that Core Gaming needs.
Yeah, well, 1 win would put them very close to tying it up. In fact, it put them 1 down from tying it up. So Selma charges start to go out as they start to open up. Boss G is going to ring out, but it's not going to get any kills or any damage. Still got all 5 alive, 1:11 as it starts to tick down onto the clock. The pressure's starting to mount for JJ and Co. So it's a quick jump down the back stairs as he's just going to take a quick peek, see what kind of problems are going to be arising. Not much to answer there. No shots to even be had. And finally, they suss out that the Blackbeard is there. They've got the vertical in hand, so he's saying make sure to take extra look. But maybe a plant here within the with 5 all still alive, that could be insane. Smoke start going down. Gets himself in place. Twist, the win condition, takes Candle off the board, and that's the plant starting to go down. Solus done. Now into a 5v4 situation. A C4 to ring out.
Shots from the floor.
The verticality to be had.
No way!
And then 4v none. Twist finds it. It's a GG. Core going home. JJ and Co. moving on.
Dude, just taking it in. JJ and Co. A huge win here on Nighthaven Labs to finish it out. Man, if you were a Core Gaming fan, that was a tough game to watch and unfortunate. The back and forth battle that we saw across the entire day between these two, there was no dominant plays. There was no dominant teams on any of those maps. The back and forth, the JJ and Co. was just a little bit better to force that win. Man, we are going to see the JJ and Co. M80X rematch for the 3rd time, my friend.
Hey, you know, best 2 out of 3. You got to take 2. And you know what? For some of the most important stakes that have ever been for T2 on the line, what a match to be able to have for that. A for real, for all the marbles scenario, because if you win that next game, you are just a few off from potentially making your way into the Pro League. Boy, it just doesn't get any more epic than that.
We'll flash the bracket real quick because I know people are interested. How is this going to play out? We said at the upper bracket final, Revelations taking on Forsaken. That game is going to be next Saturday. The lower bracket quarterfinal games, those ones are going to be on Saturday as well. We're going to see this, the JJ & Co. rematch versus M80X in the lower bracket quarterfinal. Now on the other side, that Flow State, the Unks game, you were giving us the updates. Spaceshoobs, waiting for the winner of that. Have we figured out, is it going to be the Unks? Is it going to be Flow State? Are they going to map 3?
We're going to map 3, man.
Oh!
We are going to map 3. It is just so back and forth. It is so amazing. It is so good. And it's going to take all 3 of them to get it done, to go face the Spaceshoobs, and then, man, it just gets closer and closer after that. We are just a few games off from finding out who our last contender to represent NA is going to be.
Boy, that's right, my friend. We've hit that spot. Here it is. Who is it going to be? Great question. We're going to have to wait until next weekend to find out. But that final game, we're going to send you over to the Rainbow Six main channel in order to watch that final 3rd map between Flow State and the Unks. We got a chance to cast them yesterday and throughout this Swiss series. Glad to see some of our friends and fellow Siege players duking it out there again. It's a winner-go-home scenario for them as well. Everyone, though, we're going to have to wait till next weekend to see this M80 game. What a weekend of Siege, though.
No kidding. And it just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier. Okay, just want to say a special thank you to everybody for hanging out, all the streams that tuned in, and of course just everybody that was hanging out in the stream with us, the subs, the follows. We just seriously appreciate it. Go check us out on Twitter, all of your Siege action heading on there, all of your up-to-date M80X information on Stomp and Watch is going to be happening there on the Siege Double Shot. And of course, if you want some fun vids, seeing how some of the casters play Rainbow Six Siege, you can check out our TikTok and our YouTube as well, as we have a little bit of buffoonery there. But folks, for us, for today's games, we have reached the part where we must, alas, bid you adieu. So as the lights start to dim and the jukebox starts to sing closing time, as always, my friends, you don't have to go home.
But you can't stay here.
Ayo.
Let's go.